Chapter 13:12. Trouble. Killing people. Tianyuan City was where the Yang clan resided. Many people were already waiting there, coming from thousands of miles around, just to see the battle between Tiantai and Tianlong Divine Castle. Last time, Tianlong Divine Castle and the Yang clan joined hands to fight Tiantai. So this next battle was inevitable. They wanted to destroy Tiantai, and the Yang clan had become their battlefield. Around Tianyuan City, clouds were rolling in the air, and a mystical boat appeared from them. We're almost in Tianyuan City. Everybody was releasing a deadly qi, creating a picture which looked like a desolate evening in autumn. There's a mountain range, let's go over there, said Tianqi. The boat then descended from the sky and landed on that mountain range. Everybody looked at Tianqi. They didn't understand why he was having them stop there. First, we need someone to inspect Tianyuan City. The others must stay here, understood? Said Tianqi. Even though the crowd didn't understand, they nodded. Wuxia, you're responsible here? Said Tianqi to Wuxia. Wuxia nodded. Qing Tian Linfeng, you two go to Tianyuan City, said Tianqi to Mo Qing Tian and Linfeng. Linfeng and Mo Qing Tian left Qiongqi alongside Linfeng. After a short time, Linfeng said to Yendi, will it be a problem for you? Don't worry, said Yendi proudly and arrogantly. Then he turned around and descended the mountain. Linfeng, are you sure your friend will be fine? Asked Tianqi to Linfeng. Don't worry, he's competent, said Linfeng, smiling and nodding. All right, let's go, and remember, be careful, said Tianqi to Mo Qing Tian and Linfeng. He wasn't going to leave with them. Linfeng and Mo Qing Tian smiled. Linfeng stretched out his hand and took out a mask. Now he was releasing demonic energies, and his qi looked completely different. Mo Qing Tian did the same, turning himself into a middle-aged man. Awesome, let's go, said Mo Qing Tian, smiling. Linfeng nodded, and they moved towards Tianyuan City. After a short time, Linfeng could see the Yang clan. They were a prestigious family in northern Bahuang, who, apart from influential imperial groups, were the overlords of northern Bahuang. But after the war against the island of the 9 dragons, they had become a lot weaker, and now they were in danger, so they joined hands with Tianlong Divine Castle. Linfeng looked at the buildings, remembering back to the first time he came to Bahuang. Linfeng was aware that everything that was happening now was because of him. Of course, even before he arrived in Bahuang, there were tensions between Tiantai's emperors and Tianlong Divine Castle's emperor. Linfeng turned around and left. He soon arrived in a luxuriant restaurant, filled with people chatting and having a merry time. They walked over to a table next to a window, where there were already 2 people sitting, both of whom were cultivators of the first Zunqi layer. Your Excellency, may I help you? Asked one of them indifferently, yet coldly when he saw Linfeng. We want to sit here, so piss off, said Linfeng. The 2 cultivators smiled coldly and said, You told us to piss off? Said the other one, pointing to his nose. Boom! Linfeng immediately punched the air in their direction without hesitation. Try and dare, shouted that cultivator. Linfeng's fist crashed onto that cultivator's head. Blood splashed, and he immediately fell down. The other one stood up and stared at Linfeng, horrified. Even though you're strong, you should be careful, said that cultivator. Kacha! Another aggressive punch. This time, the cultivator was prepared and moved backwards, but Linfeng's attack was too fast. That guy is aggressive, thought the crowd. Linfeng grabbed the cultivator's body and whispered, Back then, I was the one who killed the young master from the island of the 9 dragons and blamed Yang Zilan and his sister. Who are you? I told you to piss off, and you surprisingly didn't listen to me. Boom boom. Linfeng threw the guy outside the window aggressively. The other looked at Linfeng and ran away. What did he say? Asked someone, trying to figure out Linfeng. He killed the young master from the island of the 9 dragons. When the island of the 9 dragons and the Yang clan fought, Yang Zilan and Yang Ziyi said that they hadn't killed him. But could it actually be this guy who did it? Everybody was staring at Linfeng. How insane was he? Everybody was speechless though, because Linfeng acted as if nothing happened. He sat down and started drinking his own alcohol, which carried a rather strong fragrance and contained fire qi. As everybody had anticipated, some people from the Yang clan soon arrived. The leader was Yang Ziyi, who looked at Lin Feng in a cold way. "Miss Yang," said Lin Feng, nodding at Yang Ziyi. Apart from her, there were other strong cultivators from the Yang clan. Cultivators of the 3rd and 4th Zunqi layer. Once they heard what Lin Feng had said, they hurried to the restaurant. Lin Feng had only broken through to the 9th Zunqi layer, but they had sent cultivators of the 4th Zunqi layer, meaning they weren't underestimating him. "Who are you? Why did you want to harm my clan back then?" asked Yang Ziyi. Lin Feng didn't pay attention though. He downed his glass and slowly stood up, glancing at the crowd. "Useless people, piss off all of you, otherwise you'll die." Then he released ice-cold demonic intent, shaking their souls. The Yang clan's members frowned. His chi was terrifying. Many people's silhouettes flickered. It seemed like Lin Feng was going to fight the Yang clan. But unfortunately, they couldn't watch. "I asked you something," said Yang Ziyi proudly. His chi was powerful, so what? She had strong cultivators on her side. They were all cultivators of the 3rd or 4th Zunqi layer, so they could easily kill a cultivator of the Tianqi layer. "She looks proud and arrogant just like before," said Lin Feng, smiling in a cold way. Yang Ziyi saw his expression and shivered. That person looked like someone else she knew. "I've let you off once. The Yang clan wanted to bring about its own destruction, and since you killed people from Tiantai, you should be destroyed." "Lin Feng, you're Lin Feng." Yang Ziyi's facial expression changed drastically. "That insane guy again. It's too late." Lin Feng released his demonic territory. In a flash, the restaurant became dark, and the faces of the members from the Yang clan turned deathly pale. Their faces turned pale. They knew how terrifying Lin Feng was. They didn't even have time to react. Horrible shrieks quickly ensued. Chapter 13:13. The Yang clan's nightmare. It's Lin Feng, attack him. Yang Ziyi's face was deathly pale. A few people rose up in the air at the same time and attacked the demonic territory. But Lin Feng took out his sword, which contained 3 types of abstruse energies, and immediately killed a cultivator of the 4th Zunqi layer. He killed a cultivator of the 4th Zunqi layer with only one sword attack, thought Yang Ziyi. Her face was even more pale. Only now did she understood what Lin Feng had done back then. He had created tensions between the Island of the 9 Dragons and the Yang clan, and he hadn't died from the desolate chi of the Huang Sea. Lin Feng's cultivation knowledge was too deep. Blood continued to spill everywhere as a dozen Zun cultivators died in the blink of an eye, all in front of Yang Ziyi. Yang Ziyi sighed once she saw Lin Feng pointing his sword at her. She hadn't thought her entire life would change because of Lin Feng, whom she had met on a boat in the Huang Sea. "It's all my fault." When Lin Feng's sword approached her, Yang Ziyi closed her eyes and tears rolled down her cheeks. Lin Feng had saved her, and if the Yang clan had been grateful, everything could have been different. Outside the restaurant, the crowd wanted to know what was going on inside. Very quickly, they saw a silhouette leave the restaurant and run away. That must have been the one who caused trouble, but he wasn't dead, which meant those Yang clan cultivators were. "Go, let's see." The crowd waited for a few minutes. After they saw that nobody was chasing him, and that nothing seemed to be happening in the restaurant anymore, they peeked inside the restaurant. "All the members of the Yang clan were killed," whispered someone. They couldn't believe it. There were cultivators of the 3rd and 4th Zunqi layer. Even Yang Ziyi was with them. Yang Ziyi was calmly lying there. She didn't look scared. Instead, she looked like she was asleep. The crowd even saw tears drying in the corners of her eyes. Tiantai, they thought. Maybe that guy had hidden his cultivation level, as well as his appearance. The Yang clan had helped Tianlong Divine Castle kill people from Tiantai before, and now Tiantai wanted their revenge. The Yang clan deserved it. Even though Tianlong Divine Castle came here, it's still too dangerous to offend Tiantai, thought some people. They didn't dare say that to anyone though. "Move." Yang Ziyi's father turned deathly pale after he arrived in the restaurant. He had already lost a son at the Chiu clan, and now his last child, his daughter, had died. Many people from the Yang clan quickly arrived in the restaurant, Tiantai. All of them thought of the same group. 1 hour later, in the governmental buildings of the Yang clan, The grandfather of the Yang clan was looking at a corpse. Apart from Yang Ziyi and the strong cultivators, who had been killed in that restaurant, more strong cultivators of the Yang clan were killed in another location soon after the bar fight. "Master," said someone rushing into the palace. That person looked crushed and didn't want to speak. "Speak," demanded the old man of the Yang clan. "Some members of our clan were killed at the market, including Master Yang Lai," said that person, not raising their head. Yang Lai's social status was even higher than Yang Ziye's. He was Yang Ziye's uncle. Tap tap tap. Someone else arrived and the face of the old man turned deathly pale. "Speak," said the old man before the person even arrived. "Master, the fifth young master was," said that person. "Kacha," the old man's chair exploded. He was furious. "Quick, tell everyone to come back. Nobody can stay outside," said the old man. The Yang clan was Tianyuan City's most powerful group. They ran many businesses in town, the open-air market, treasure shops, and so on. They'd have to cease their activities for the time being. The old man went to the back of the room, to a door. He entered the room, where some people were sitting inside. "Didn't you say that you were tracking every movement of theirs?" said the old man to one of the people who were sitting. That person raised his head and glanced at the old man. "Are you blaming me? I wouldn't dare." The old man was furious, but he didn't dare offend those people. That person stared at the old man, making him feel uncomfortable. He didn't know what the old man was thinking, before finally, he looked elsewhere and said, "Be patient. They're already outside of Tianyuan City. 3 people already came to Tianyuan City, so they can't do much. Their forces might all come to the clan tomorrow. At that point we'll destroy them all." When he said the word destroy, he sounded cruel. "I feel relieved. I know you're extremely strong, so we must annihilate them," said the old man. Outside of the Yang clan, there was a vast area where few people ventured. It was usually calm, but at that moment, a loud sound broke the silence, as well as an explosion. The ground cracked as a silhouette descended from the sky and violently landed on the ground. However, it was actually a corpse. The guards of the Yang clan were startled when they saw the corpse. Their faces turned deathly pale. "It's Yang Qiong, it's Master Yang Qiong." The guards didn't know what to do, petrified with fear. Yang Qiong was the 4th member of the Yang clan, who belonged to the real lineage. After a short time, a horse with a corpse on its back appeared to be galloping towards them. A day passed, a long day of death, that is. Once it became night, there was even more shouting, and everybody was terrified. Each time the strong cultivators from the Yang clan went out, they wouldn't find anyone alive, only corpses. The ordinary members of the Yang clan didn't trust Tianlong Divine Castle as much as their leaders. They were scared of influential imperial groups and preferred to stay away from those people. But they had no choice in this matter. One full day passed, and Tiantai's people still didn't show up. Kaboom! The old man from the Yang clan was furious, clenching his fists aggressively. He went back to the small room at the back of his palace hall. He realized that Tianlong Divine Castle was waiting for Tiantai to arrive, but nobody was arriving. Instead, Tiantai was just playing with them. 3 days passed, and they still haven't come. "I'll dispatch some people," said a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer, to the old man of the Yang clan. Outside of Tianyuan City, Tiantai's people were still waiting at the top of a mountain. Tianqi had even come back. "Brothers, when are we going to go and kill the Yang clan?" asked someone calmly. Tianqi turned around, smiled and said, "Why would we go? We can just wait for them, isn't that better?" Chapter 13-14. Yang clan's judgment day, wait for them. Everybody sounded skeptical. Lin Feng and Mo Qing Tian had only been gone for a few days. Had they informed Tianlong Divine Castle instead of killing them? "Brother, if Lin Feng and brother Mo went to Tianlong Divine Castle, won't it be dangerous?" asked Meng Ba, frowning. "Who said they went to find people from Tianlong Divine Castle?" asked Tianqi, smiling. Meng Ba was surprised and asked, "Why are we waiting for them? How do they know we're here?" "Maybe someone will tell them," said Tianqi indifferently. Then, Tianqi stood up and said, "All right, it's not safe here anymore. We have to move somewhere else." Please follow Wuxia to another mountain range. Traitors? Thought the crowd. It seemed like Tianqi was trying to deal with their traitor. Everybody stood up and followed Wuxia. However, Tianqi said seriously, "Everybody, stay 100 meters away from Wuxia. You probably understand why." Of course. Brothers, hurry. Tianqi nodded. Everything was going according to plan. Tianqi looked at Wuxia and Wang Xiao and said, "Wuxia, Wang Xiao, you are both quite strong. Wuxia, bring the others to another mountain range. Wang Xiao and I will sit and wait for people from Tianlong Divine Castle to come. Once they do, we'll leave." "Understood," said Wuxia, nodding. Wuxia then brought the crowd to another mountain while Tianqi and Wang Xiao stayed there. "Brother, forgive me for being straightforward, but Tianlong Divine Castle is very strong. Even though we have many strong cultivators, it's still not enough," said Wang Xiao, after the crowd left. Tianqi closed his eyes and sat down cross-legged. "Of course it's not enough." "What you mean to say is that more people are coming," said Wuxia. "You'll understand in the morning, so why ask me so much?" said Tianqi then. Wang Xiao didn't say anything more. Time passed and it became dark outside. The previous days had been nightmarish for the Yang clan. Bodies were piling, and the murderers were nowhere to be found. If they weren't so sure that it was Tiantai, they would have suspected the assassins from the abyss of sufferings. "Yang Ding, after tonight the nightmare will be over. Do you think Tianlong Divine Castle can destroy Tiantai?" asked someone in the main hall. Two people were drinking tea and talking. "I'm worried," said Yang Ding, sipping the tea and frowning. "Worried about what?" "Tianlong Divine Castle's people are leaving Tianyuan City tomorrow to annihilate Tiantai. Shouldn't we send some people too? When the time is right, there will be nothing left here. And if Tiantai's strong cultivators come here during the chaos, it'll be dangerous for us," said Yang Ding. If Tianlong Divine Castle was defeated by Tiantai, the Yang clan would be in even worse danger. "Yang Ding, since we made these decisions, we can't back out now. We could only accept defeat if Tianlong loses. However, your worries are not groundless. Let's go and find grandfather," said the other one. Yang Ding nodded and they left. However, after they passed the door, a sword appeared in the darkness. It was ice cold and it could pierce people's souls. They suddenly stopped moving. Blood splashed and a wind blew, but they didn't see anything besides a black shadow. After a short time, some people walked by and saw them standing there, blood pooling beneath them. "Master!" Many people looked to the leader of the Yang clan, but he just turned around and left without saying anything. That night seemed extremely long. Nobody slept or practiced cultivation. Everybody was worried that they would die if they weren't vigilant. Eventually, the sun started rising, relieving their concerns. Finally, after that day, the nightmare would be over. Tianlong would destroy Tiantai, and they would move to western Bahuang. The Yang clan, like many of the other clans, had a battle stage where they made their disciples fight. On their battle stage were many strong cultivators from Tianlong Divine Castle waiting. There were also many strong cultivators from the Yang clan, and some other clans. In total, there were 3 groups of people. "You're only sending half of your people?" asked a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer from Tianlong Divine Castle. "We have to leave some people here to protect the territory. You've seen how many of our people have been assassinated. If there is nobody here and Tiantai comes, they'll destroy our territory without resistance," said the old man from the Yang clan. "Besides, with your strength plus the Xianyuan clan and the others, we should have no problem annihilating Tiantai." The cultivator of the top of the Zunqi layer nodded. "That's not groundless, let's go then." They rose up in the air together, and those who were still alive Tianyuan City noticed them flying away. Was Tianlong Divine Castle leaving to fight Tiantai? After Tianlong Divine Castle's people and the others left, the old man from the Yang clan was finally relieved. Finally, they were going to fight with the strong army Tianlong Divine Castle had assembled. "All the members of the Yang clan come onto the stage," shouted the old man from the Yang clan. His voice spread everywhere in their territory. In a flash, people from the entire clan gathered on the stage. They would wait for the strong cultivators from Tianlong Divine Castle and the others to come back before leaving the stage. That way they couldn't be assassinated. More and more people gathered together, but outside of the Yang clan, a terrifying chi loomed over the sky. Boom! The old man was instantly depressed. Then, all the members of the Yang clan sensed the terrifying chi, powerful enough to make them suffocate. A strength at the peak of the Zun chi layer. The face of the old man of the Yang clan turned deathly pale. Even though he was also a cultivator at the top of the Zun chi layer, he couldn't compete with cultivators at the top of the Zun chi layer from Tiantai. Who came? The old man of the Yang clan was vigilant. He had left some strong cultivators in the clan, but Tiantai had sent a cultivator at the top of the Zun chi layer to spy on them. At that moment, the crowd raised their heads and saw a sword appear in the sky. It alone illuminated the entire territory of the Yang clan. Sword chi was quickly moving towards the battle stage, destroying everything in its path, people and buildings. "Move aside!" shouted the old man of the Yang clan. His face was deathly pale. He rose up in the air and dodged the attack. They also moved aside as the sword cut the battle stage in two. Those who were too close were immediately killed, without a trace. What a terrifying sword, thought everybody. Tiantai continued attacking. In the distance, a silhouette rose up in the air. His face looked sharp and his robe was fluttering in the wind. The Yang clan is doomed. Those who recognized the silhouette realized. The Yang clan had made a decision and now, they were going to regret it. Even the leader of the Yang clan burst into laughter when he saw that silhouette. He knew they were doomed. Ho Ching Lin. Today is a tragic day for the Yang clan. The Yang clan didn't make any mistakes. I, Yang Tian Lin, didn't make any mistake. We were not wrong, I wasn't wrong, said the old man. He wasn't scared. He knew that it was impossible to avoid the destruction of his clan. Ho Ching Lin was now a cultivator at the top of the Zun chi layer. Nobody could stop him. A few years before, Ho Ching Lin could already kill cultivators at the top of the Zun chi layer, and back then, he was already far from being what he is now. In the cultivation world, there's no such concept as right and wrong, said Ho Ching Lin calmly, making the leader of the Yang clan smile. Indeed, in the cultivation world, there was only the strong and the stronger. Chapter 13-15. Plan and plot. People sighed. They knew that there were tensions between the Yang clan and Tiantai. Many people believed it was Lin Feng's fault. In Tianyuan City, Lin Feng and Mo Qing Tian were in the sky, riding a boat which utilized empty space energies. The members of the Yang clan stepped into the mountain range where Tian Qi and Wang Xiao were. Once the members from the Yang clan and Tianyuan City left the Yang clan's territory, Lin Feng and Mo Qing Tian flew back as well. Their second fellow disciple, Ho Ching Lin, could take care of the rest alone. You're back. Tian Qi opened his eyes and looked at Lin Feng and Mo Qing Tian. Brother. Lin Feng nodded at Tian Qi and Wang Xiao. Tian Qi said to Lin Feng, "You should catch up with the rest of the group." Understood. They both rose up in the air and left for the other mountain. Tian Qi and Wang Xiao were still alone. Brother, have the battles started? Asked Wang Xiao to Tian Qi. Tianlong Divine Castle, and the Yang clan's members are going to arrive here soon, said Tian Qi, closing his eyes again, as if all this had nothing to do with him. Wang Xiao frowned and said, Brother, since they're coming, shouldn't we stay with our fellow disciples and get ready to fight Tianlong Divine Castle? Not yet, when the right time comes, said Tian Qi calmly. Wang Xiao stood up and gazed in the distance after he heard Tian Qi. He couldn't see anything and frowned. Brother, where are the others? Tian Qi opened his eyes again and turned around. He looked at Wang Xiao, making him feel awkward. Wang Xiao, why do you keep talking? Wang Xiao smiled wryly. We're both here together, two brothers. If Tianlong's people come here, we'll die. I think we should gather together with the others. What do you think? It's too late, said Tian Qi. Wang Xiao was petrified. Rumbling sounds became distinct as they saw an army arriving in the distance. Brother, what are you waiting for? Said Wang Xiao hastily. Are you a member of Tiantai? Asked Tian Qi. Wang Xiao was petrified, but then he turned to Tian Qi and smiled. Tian Qi, said the leader of the army as he looked at Wang Xiao. How can you be so sure it's me? Asked Wang Xiao to Tian Qi. I'm not sure, I still have some doubts even, said Tianqi calmly. Do you think you're smart? Asked Wang Xiao calmly. Since Tianlong Divine Castle's people were there, it was useless to talk any further. Why was Tianlong Divine Castle's army there? Tianqi and Wang Xiao were the only ones there. Seeing how Tianqi couldn't be a traitor, Wang Xiao was the only one left to blame. If Tianlong Divine Castle could control Wang Xiao's location, they could also monitor Tiantai's position. Smart? Said Tianqi, putting his palms together and closing his eyes. He said calmly, Tiantai's goals were to eradicate the traitor. That's why the Yang clan was annihilated already. Now it's your turn, Wang Xiao. Wang Xiao was caught off guard. He only saw a golden light streak across the sky. Suddenly, Wang Xiao rose up in the air. Imprison! Terrifying lights appeared around Tianqi. They even contained holy marks. These lights dashed to the skies and Wang Xiao was suddenly petrified, his body quickly turning golden. Break! Shouted Wang Xiao furiously. The golden lights broke, and a metallic ringing sound hummed. Soul sacrifice, holy marks, said Tianqi. His body turned golden when suddenly, the marks moved towards Wang Xiao. A horrible shriek ensued. Wang Xiao's body turned golden, and he was riddled with gaping wounds. Tianqi had been sitting cross-legged the whole time, not even moving an inch. A gigantic hand moved towards them, but it was already too late. After Tianqi's holy marks attack, Wang Xiao had died. Tiantai's goal was only to eradicate the traitor. That's why the Yang clan was annihilated? Thought the leader of the Yang clan, recalling Tianqi's words. His face turned deathly pale when he thought about it more. Brother, Yang Zhan looked at the cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer. When you make decisions, you have to bear the responsibility for your actions. That's a basic rule on the path of cultivation, said that cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer. When he saw that Yang Zhan was staring at him, Yang Zhan's eyes were bloodshot, but he nodded and said, I will not let him influence my cultivation, but I must get my revenge today. You will. Tiantai sent people to destroy your clan. At the same time, Wang Xiao brought us here to fight Tiantai. Although it was a decent scheme, they definitely underestimated Tianlong Divine Castle, said that cultivator. Let's go, Tiantai's people can't be too far. Maybe they're still fighting people in the Yang clan. In any case, let's find them and kill them. Yang Zhan immediately released ice-cold energies when he heard that. Bzzz. The cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer took a step forwards and said, We're going to Tiantai to destroy them. Silhouettes then flickered away. As they had guessed, Tiantai's people hadn't gone back, and they weren't very far. They were in a valley with cliffs surrounding them. Because of the geography, it was thus difficult to sense any qi from the surroundings. Brother, what's going on? Asked someone to Tianqi, who had just come back. And where was Wang Xiao? The Yang clan has been destroyed. Wang Xiao was the traitor, and I killed him myself, replied Tianqi calmly. It was him. When I came back to Tiantai before, he was the one who wanted to get revenge the most. No wonder. As expected, maybe Tianlong Divine Castle had prepared an incredible army. That would explain why Wang Xiao had hoped we'd act recklessly. You think that you're so smart and that your plan was perfect, said someone at that moment. Tianlong Divine Castle's people. Qi descended from the sky. When they raised their heads, they saw countless strong cultivators from Tianlong Divine Castle descending from the sky. Tianqi the sadhu frowned and looked at them in a meaningful way. Can't you just tell me who else is a traitor amongst us? Boom! Two silhouettes rose up in the air like arrows, as if they were afraid that Tianlong could injure them accidentally. Xianting and Lin Xiao, two more people. Tianqi looked calm as he smiled and said, You really planned everything out carefully. Nothing could have gone wrong since you sent 3 people. Of course, and now you're stuck in this valley, like an animal trapped in a cage now. We even casted a spell, so you can't leave anymore. Unfortunately for you, Ho Qinglin hasn't made it back yet. Who knows, said Tianqi calmly. Immediately after that, a sword qi pierced through the cage and instantly destroyed it. Ho Qinglin! People from Tianlong raised their heads and frowned. Then at the same time, all the members from Tiantai jumped into a gigantic boat. If you hadn't come to the valley, How would we have destroyed you? Said a cold voice. Immediately after, bright lights appeared and Tiantai's boat disappeared. It then reappeared in the sky above them. Chapter 13:16. Dark Holy Marks Tianlong Divine Castles. People suddenly understood what was going on. Their plan hadn't worked as they had expected. They had planned on there being other spies. Not only Wang Xiao, Ho Qinglin. Tianlong Divine Castle's cultivators raised their heads and noticed that Ho Qinglin had already reached the peak of the Zunqi layer. Destroy? Ridiculous. Even if you found a way to protect yourself, it doesn't mean you can destroy us, said a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer from Tianlong Divine Castle. He sounded confident as then released bestial qi around him. Go, said someone. The strong cultivators from Tianlong looked at Ho Qinglin and flew towards him. Ho Qinglin was already releasing reincarnation abstruse energies. The valley was filled with lights. Reincarnation energies are a terrifying and mysterious power. What should we do? Thought the cultivators from Tianlong Divine Castle. The leader shouted, destroy the mountain and move through it to the other side. Break, break, shouted the strong cultivators. They attacked the mountain range furiously. However, the mountain range started shining. It wasn't a mountain range, but a gigantic spell with holy marks appearing everywhere. Holy marks. Besides, those holy marks black in color. Ah! A horrible shriek sounded as someone's arm suddenly burnt after touching the marks. That terrifying fire flew throughout the person's arm, and his entire body started burning as well. Back, everybody move back! Shouted the enemies furiously. Boom, boom, boom. The black holy marks were whistling. In a flash, people who were just standing next to the cliff started burning. Destroy. In Tiantai, nobody can release such powerful holy marks, even Ho Qinglin, thought the leader of Tianlong Divine Castle. He raised his head and looked around. They actually planned on luring us here. Of course, without those terrifying holy marks, we would have easily won. But now, because of those holy marks, things are looking dire, thought their leader, sighing. He watched as his people were burning alive from the holy marks. His heart twitched. Those people were heroes inside Tianlong Divine Castle. Everybody get back, shouted the cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer. A dragon scepter appeared in his hand, an imperial weapon. The members of the Xianyuan clan and some others felt relieved. No wonder Tianlong was so confident. They had sent 100 heroes from Tianlong, coupled with the Xianyuan clan, the Yang clan, other clans, and the imperial weapon, the celestial dragon scepter. Help me destroy them, shouted a strong cultivator, glancing at the fire holy marks. The holy marks, coupled with Ho Qinglin's reincarnation energies, were trapping them in the valley. Die! Golden lights appeared from inside the scepter and several dragons appeared, baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Each dragon was millions of meters long and looked terrifying. Besides that, all the strong cultivators also turned into dragons. Boom, boom, boom! The reincarnation energies shook violently. However, Ho Qinglin was still in the sky, and his reincarnation sword made the energies even more terrifying. The dragon at the front charged into the reincarnation energies, but couldn't destroy them. Help me attack the reincarnation energies, shouted the leader of the group. Then he fused together with the dragons, and the celestial dragon scepter also turned into a dragon. Roar, 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 dragons roared. The cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer wasn't human anymore. He was an authentic dragon. The reincarnation energies were shaking violently under his attack, and at the same time, other strong cultivators were pushing ahead. Reincarnation energies break, shouted a voice furiously. Cracking and explosions sounded as the cultivators from Tianlong Divine Castle were struggling to break the energies above them. If Ho Qinglin broke through to the 8th or 9th Zunqi layer, then that would be truly terrifying. He would become as strong as Mu Qin then. It would mean that apart from emperors, he would have no enemy. Only a few people were like that in Ba Huang. We can't die. Tianqi put his palms together and released some Buddha lights. Xianting Linshao, come here. They both moved to the cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer without saying anything. Why don't you know about the Holy Marks deployment spell? Asked the cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer. They both shook their heads and said, "First we were together, then Tianqi, Lin Feng and Emoqing Tian left, then Tianqi sent us here. We didn't know there were holy marks already in place. Tianqi's people can't release such powerful holy marks, not to mention Lin Feng or Emoqing Tian," said that cultivator. "Do you think your ignorance is a good reason? People died because of you." Xianting and Lin Xiao were shaking, soaked with sweat. The cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer continued, "We sent you to spy on them and you betrayed us, you're useless." Both cultivators shook violently. They tried to run away, but they weren't strong enough to escape his attack. The dragon claws fell down on them. No! Kaboom! Metallic ringing sounds ensued and they died. "That's what those spies deserve," thought the cultivators from Tiantai, smiling coldly. Chapter 13:17. Tianlong Divine Castle's Union. Their cultivators are fusing together with each other's dragon energies. That cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer, from Tianlong Divine Castle, can almost turn into a real dragon. Thought some members of Tiantai. The holy marks already destroyed a lot of their cultivators. Only 20 or so of their strongest cultivators are left. On the side of Tiantai, apart from the direct disciples, not many people could compete with them. Ho Qing Lin, even if you reach the top of the Zunqi layer, it doesn't matter, you're still too weak. And Mu Chen isn't here to save you, said the strong cultivator who had turned into a dragon. He was challenging Mu Chen. "Against you, I don't need him to come," said Ho Qing Lin calmly. Dragons roared and pieces from the mountain exploded. The gigantic dragon threw himself at Ho Qing Lin. "Scatter!" shouted Ho Qing Lin. Many of the people from Tiantai quickly moved away. A battle between the dragon and Ho Qing Lin could spill over and harm the weaker cultivators. "Little monk, I will show you that I am stronger by reducing you to dust." A cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer appeared in front of Tianqi as well. He hadn't transformed into a dragon, but he was wearing a dragon armor, which seemed extremely strong. Tianqi acted as if he hadn't heard anything. He put his palms together and started chanting a mantra in a clear, melodious, pure, deep, far-reaching Brahma voice. "Die!" shouted the cultivator. Without releasing any energy, he moved towards Tianqi, slashing with his claws. However, Tianqi didn't try to dodge. Instead, he continued chanting mantras. The Buddha behind him was shaking. The gigantic hand of the Buddha met the dragon's claws. They collided many times, each time shaking space around them. The energies released by their attacks dispersed all around. Luckily, there was nobody around to get hurt. The mountain range became a battlefield, and everybody was fighting. Tianlong Divine Castle had more cultivators than Tiantai, because many of Tiantai's cultivators were sent back by the boat already. Lin Feng didn't leave. He was riding Qi's while holding his Tianji sword. He was already surrounded by 3 strong cultivators. 2 of them had broken through to the 5th Zunqi layer, and 1 of them to the 6th Zunqi layer. "Buddy, we need to escape." Lin Feng glanced at the fighters all around him. Tiantai no longer had the advantage. Even Ho Qing Lin didn't necessarily have the advantage. After all, he had just reached the top of the Zunqi layer, whereas the cultivator from Tianlong Divine Castle had an imperial weapon. "All right," said Qiongqi. Instead of fighting, they flew around leaving behind mysterious marks. Then they flew off. "Chase them!" shouted the 3 cultivators. The 3 cultivators' faces twitched. They didn't want to chase Lin Feng because they knew he had Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. But Lin Feng was one of the people they definitely had to kill. They had to, so they quickly made up their mind to chase him. Very quickly, Lin Feng and Qiongqi had made it a few hundred meters away. Lin Feng said to Qiongqi, using telepathy, "Buddy, we can't play around today. The 3 of them are strong cultivators from Tianlong, and those who have broken through to the 5th Zunqi layer, or above, are still difficult for me to defeat. I need your help. Don't worry. Just use your territory spell, and I'll help you kill them," said Qiongqi. Even though he had the 9 Netherworld's Demon Lotus, he couldn't use it because people would know that he was the one who had cheated the 8 emperors. Understood. Lin Feng suddenly stopped, turned around, and faced the 3 cultivators. "Die!" They all threw themselves at Lin Feng. Their dragons were roaring furiously, and their claws were lacerating the air. However, Lin Feng didn't look worried at all. He was just smiling. Boom boom. Their claws were about to reach them when the space suddenly became distorted. Demonic territory. The three cultivators were trapped now. Kill him, shouted one of them. Ah, a horrible shriek sounded. He was suddenly surrounded by demonic fire, and was burning alive. The faces of the other two turned deathly pale. They were staring at a silhouette, but it wasn't Lin Feng. It was a Taoist monk who was releasing demonic fire. It was the Taoist monk from the legends. Very quickly, two more horrible shrieks appeared, and the demonic territory disappeared. Lin Feng took their rings for himself. Not bad. Emperor, let's go back, said Lin Feng smiling. What's going on? The cultivators from Tianlong were surprised when Lin Feng came back unscathed. They hadn't sensed the qi from Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. So how had Lin Feng killed those three strong cultivators? Ho Qing Lin, you're wearing the 7 feathers robe, said the dragon. His scepter contributed to making his dragon transformation perfect, so apart from emperors, he had no equal. But Ho Qing Lin was wearing a Taoist robe made of feathers, an imperial weapon called the 7 feathers robe, which could multiply the user's speed. Thanks to his speed, he had already killed 5 of the stronger cultivators from Tianlong. You're not stupid, said Ho Qing Lin. Tianlong Divine Castle had already lost 7 or 8 strong cultivators, while Tiantai hadn't lost anyone. I thought you would use Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword, but it seems like Tiantai doesn't intend to use it, said the gigantic dragon, looking down at Lin Feng. It seems like someone guessed right. Lin Feng cannot use Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword as many times as he wishes. There must be conditions, said the cultivator of the top of the Zunqi layer. Lin Feng, how many more times can you use Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword? Asked the gigantic dragon. Lin Feng smiled and said, Maybe I'll tell you when you're about to die. Is that so? You won't be able to, I fear, unless you use it today, said the dragon, before stretching out his claws. A dazzling picture scroll appeared, and some silhouettes jumped out of it. Lin Feng was astonished. It was them. No matter what tensions there are between Tianlong and Tiantai, we don't care. However, today, the Qi clan will definitely kill Lin Feng, said a voice aggressively. It was the strong cultivators from the Qi clan. Chapter 1318. Zun cultivators without enemies. What a huge army, thought the people from Tiantai. Surprisingly, Tianlong and the Qing Lin were also joining hands, plus the Xianyuan clan and the Yang clan had formed a union. It was no wonder that Tianlong Divine Castle was convinced that they could destroy Tiantai, even with Ho Qing Lin and Mu Chen present. Qi Qianxing. Ho Qing Lin yelled when he saw the leader of the group from the Qi clan. It's me, Ho Qing Lin. Today, you've reached the top of the Zunqi layer, and you have a bright future ahead of you. Just like the diviner said, you'll become an emperor sooner or later. I don't want you and I to be enemies, so hand Lin Feng over to the Qi clan, and we will leave, said Qi Qianxing. Of course, if Tiantai protects Lin Feng, Tiantai and the Qi clan will become enemies. What a bastard, thought the people from Tiantai. That guy didn't seem to be afraid of Ho Qing Lin. The cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer, who had turned into a dragon, smiled and thought, hand Lin Feng over? Was that even possible? Didn't they understand Tiantai? They wouldn't hand over Lin Feng, so the only solution was to fight. The Qi clan had to help Tianlong Divine Castle defeat Tiantai. That's the strongest cultivator from the Qi clan. He's one of those cultivators who have no equals apart from emperors. Qi Qianxing, said Tianqi to Lin Feng, using telepathy to warn him. The Qi clan really admires my fellow disciple, said someone. Finally, Mu Chen had arrived. Mu Chen landed in front of Qi Qianxing and smirked. Mu Chen and Qi Qianxing were cultivators with no equals below the emperor level. They hadn't fought each other seriously before, but Qi Qianxing seemed like he wanted to fight now. Even you, Mu Chen, can't prevent me from killing the people I want to kill, said Qi Qianxing. Since you all came here, it will be difficult for you and your clan to go back, said Mu Chen. Jinggu, Qi Qianxing turned around and looked at a cultivator, who was also at the top of the Zunqi layer, but was from Tianlong Divine Castle. Jinggu said, I'll take care of Mu Chun, so you can take care of the people you want to kill. Ho Qing Lin Tianqi, Lin Feng and Wuxia. Of course, the best outcome would be to kill them all. Qi Qianxing nodded and asked Mu Chun, This is your last chance. Do I need to attack or will you hand Lin Feng over? I hope you won't regret your actions, said Mu Chun. Since it's that way, Jinggu attack, said Qi Qianxing. Jinggu smiled coldly. He could finally destroy Tiantai. Dragon blood sacrificial altar, said Jinggu in a deep and low voice. He spat out a blood-colored sacrificial altar. Blood sacrifice, said Jinggu. The strong cultivators from Tianlong cut their fingers, and their blood moved towards the altar, activating it. The altar grew in size and a dragon appeared inside. Its eyes were bloodshot. Tianlong Divine Castle has taken out their dragon altar, Mu Chun announced. Roar, a dragon roared. Mu Chun narrowed his eyes. Bzzz. A light surrounded Mu Chun, and then he disappeared. Mu Chun reappeared in the altar, fighting the blood dragon. Qi Qianxing, it's your turn, said Jinggu, smiling coldly. All right, said Qi Qianxing. He disappeared and Lin Feng sensed some overwhelming energies appear above him. Be careful, shouted Ho Qing Lin furiously. Qing Lin streaked across the sky and took Lin Feng far away. Qi Qianxing's claws slashed the space where he was just standing, leaving pitch-black threads in that spot. That's empty space abstruse energy. He can cut actual pieces of space. Ho Qing Lin realized. That was the strength of cultivators of a top Zunqi layer cultivator. Don't be impatient, Ho Qing Lin. It'll be your turn soon enough, said Qi Qianxing, glancing at Ho Qing Lin. Emperor, what should we do? Asked Lin Feng to Qiongqi using telepathy. He can control empty space abstruse energies to a frightening degree. There's no solution, said Qiongqi. You killed so many people from the Qi clan. Do you think I'll let you off? Said Qi Qianxing. Then, he shook his hand, and the sky started trembling as a gigantic hand appeared above Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't escape. Even if he tried, that hand would catch up to him easily. So you don't care if Qi Jiaojiao dies? Asked Lin Feng. If I don't kill you, you'll never release her. It's the same as her being dead, said Qi Qianxian. Bzzz. Ho Qing Lin's silhouette flickered as he moved towards Lin Feng again. Mu Chun is able to stop me from killing him. So what makes you think you can? Asked Qi Qianxing. He jumped forwards, appearing in front of Ho Qing Lin. Darkness appeared and surrounded Ho Qing Lin. Ho Qing Lin's facial expression changed drastically. He unsheathed his reincarnation sword and retreated back. Only an emperor's could try to resist such an attack. Qi Qianxing groaned coldly. His silhouette flickered and he disappeared. Lin Feng's face was deathly pale. He could only release Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword at this point. Unsheathed, Lin Feng used Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword for the third time. So Lin Feng could still use it. Die! Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword streaked across the sky. But Qi Qianxing didn't appear in front of Lin Feng, instead behind him. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword is really powerful. It can even kill cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer. But it's useless this time, said a voice. Lin Feng turned around and saw Qi Qianxing appearing. Why couldn't he defeat him even with Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword? Chapter 1320, Lin Feng Banish. Emperor Tianlong appeared wearing a blood-red robe. 2 emperors. The crowd was astonished. Surprisingly, 2 emperors had shown up. That's the second time Emperor Tianlong and Emperor Yu have faced each other. Emperor Tianlong has 2 goals. Kill Tianlong's disciples, and oppress Emperor Shi and Emperor Yu. Thought everybody else. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword appeared again. But above Qi Qianxing, Lin Feng was still oppressed by the gigantic hand. Not far from Lin Feng, Qiongqi's eyes were shining. Things were out of his hands now. Kacha! At that moment, the altar began emitting some sounds like it was going to break. Emperor Tianlong frowned and then smiled. Qi Qianxing, continue what you were doing. Emperor Yu and I won't violate our agreement. Not to attack before the meeting of the emperors. All right, said Qi Qianxing. Then, he continued moving his hand, but realized it was useless. As before, something was stopping him from moving his hands. Put him in an empty space and banish him from ever coming out, said Emperor Tianlong. Emperor Yu looked at him coldly. Emperor Tianlong interjected in a solemn and respectful way. Are you going to go against the Emperor's agreement? You already got involved by helping your disciple, said Emperor Yu. You also prevented Qi Qianxing from killing Lin Feng, so you got involved. I've only been involved once myself, so we're even, said Emperor Tianlong, smiling coldly. Qi Qianxing used his other hand to break the space around Lin Feng and threw him in it. Kill those people from Tianlong Divine Castle and the Qi clan. Then you can go back to your grave, yelled Lin Feng. The crowd was confused by the request, especially people from the Qi clan and Tianlong Divine Castle, who burst into laughter. Lin Feng was insane. He didn't ask Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword to kill Qi Qianxing, but rather them. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword heard Lin Feng and started attacking the Qi clan. Gotcha! Those people couldn't compete with Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Qi Qianxing was surprised. He hadn't thought that Lin Feng would go insane and use his only saving grace to attack the others. You want to die? Shouted Qi Qianxing furiously. Die! Shouted Lin Feng furiously. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword quickly killed the cultivators from Tianlong Divine Castle and the Qi clan, who collapsed one after the other. Emperor Tianlong's looked upset after seeing that. Bastard! Shouted Emperor Tianlong. He wanted to attack, but Emperor Yu had punched the air in Qi Qianxing's direction. What are you doing? Shouted Emperor Tianlong furiously. He punched the air in the direction of Emperor Yu's attack. They collided and a gigantic hole appeared in the sky. You can get involved, but I can't, said Emperor Yu. Teacher, save me, shouted a voice. Emperor Tianlong turned around and saw a desperate and hopeless face. Kaboom! Kacha! Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword struck them down. That hopeless face kept appearing in Emperor Tianlong's thoughts. I know you're furious, Emperor Tianlong, especially after you sent so many of your disciples to kill Lin Feng. You wanted to humiliate me, and in the end, you humiliated yourself, said Emperor Yu. Emperor Tianlong was becoming even more furious. He hadn't thought that Lin Feng would stop using Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword while fighting Qi Qianxing to kill everyone else. After Qi Qianxing kills Lin Feng, he will kill all your other disciples. Only a few of my disciples are here. Unlike you, whose most heroic disciples are all here, said Emperor Tianlong. He was trying to make it sound like he'd still come out on top. The dark hole was becoming even more terrifying. Qi Qianxing glared at Lin Feng and said, Die! You offended the Qi clan, so I'll kill you. Gotcha! At the same time the altar shook. A silhouette appeared and moved towards Qi Qianxing. Stop! Shouted Mu Chen. But Qi Qianxing shouted furiously, Banish! Boom! A gigantic hand pushed Lin Feng into the empty space. Go! Shouted Mu Chen. Dozens of thousands of threads of energies moved towards Lin Feng to protect him. You can't protect him! Shouted Qi Qianxing. Terrifying empty space energies appeared all around Lin Feng. Qi Qianxing, you want to die, shouted Mu Chen. Terrifying energies then moved towards Mu Chen. Qi Qianxing groaned coldly and jumped away. He disappeared, but his energies didn't. Break, shouted Qi Qianxing. Break. The empty spaces protecting Qi Qianxing were suddenly riddled with gaping wounds. Qi Qianxing was incredulous. Mu Chen was extremely strong, stronger than he had expected. Gotcha! Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword moved towards Qi Qianxing, wanting to kill him. That's enough, shouted a voice. A silhouette appeared and dragged Qi Qianxing away. Emperor Qi, you made a mistake, said Emperor Yu. All the members of the Qi clan, get next to me, said Emperor Qi. Then all the cultivators from the Qi clan moved behind Emperor Qi. Emperor Yu, Lin Feng killed many of my people, so killing him is normal. Today, we also lost many people. This is enough, said Emperor Qi. Normal? You dispatched cultivators at the very top of the Zun Qi layer to kill Lin Feng, and now that Lin Feng is killing your people, you come to protect them. How ridiculous can you get? You seem to have forgotten that the Qi clan is an imperial clan, said Emperor Yu. So what? Tiantai started a great war, said Emperor Qi before adding. Besides, who are you to talk about emperors? A terrifying Qi quickly surrounded Wuxia. Emperor Qi stopped talking and looked at Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Since Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword killed my people, I'll be taking it. So that was your goal, said Emperor Yu. They wanted to kill Lin Feng and steal Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. Chapter 1321. Is Lin Feng already dead? Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword understood what Emperor Qi meant. Thunderous energies shot out towards Emperor Qi. Stupid animal, said Emperor Qi. In a flash, those thunderous energies condensed and time seemed to stop. Immediately after, Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword emitted whistling sounds. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword had broken the space around it. Surprisingly, Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword could also escape. Open! Emperor Qi shook his hand. The space in which Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword had hidden itself and immediately broke open, and he threw himself into it. Bzzz. As Emperor Qi threw himself into that space, Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword appeared on the other side and hid behind another space. What a smart sword, it really is alive, thought Emperor Yu. It was using multiple spatial jumps to traverse incredible distances. To better explain this, there was a great distance between northern Bahuang and central Bahuang. But if the sword found the geographical coordinates, it could immediately move between those places. Emperor Qi quickly came out again. A sword was playing with him, so of course he was furious. Evil creature, I will go to Jiang'a myself and take it, said Emperor Qi. He shook his hand, and oppressive energies exploded several mountains. After that, Emperor Qi looked at Emperor Yu. One person had disappeared, Lin Feng. Emperor Qi smiled coldly and said, Tiantai only lost one person, you're quite lucky. Thank you for your concern, said Emperor Yu indifferently. Emperor Qi shook his hands and Qi enveloped all the members of the Qi clan. Let's go. Emperor Qi then took the remaining members of the Qi clan away. Even though they had lost a few cultivators, at least Lin Feng was dead. Emperor Tianlong didn't leave though. He was staring at Emperor Yu. Anything else? Asked Emperor Yu indifferently. Nothing. I'm waiting for Tiantai to leave, said Emperor Tianlong smiling. Emperor Tianlong is very polite, said Emperor Yu sarcastically. Emperor Tianlong was actually waiting to see if Emperor Yu would go into the empty space to save Lin Feng. After all, if he found Lin Feng's geographical coordinates and rescued him, Lin Feng might not die. I've always admired Emperor Yu, said Emperor Tianlong smiling mockingly. Though, Emperor Tianlong was actually quite upset at how many of his people he lost. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword had run away, and Emperor Qi now wanted to go to Jiang'a. Lin Feng was dead, so at least he couldn't pose a threat to them anymore. After a short time, Emperor Yu said, Tiantai will remember everything that happened today. Then, Emperor Yu flew away. Jinggu, you need to practice cultivation more. You saw how strong Qi Qianxing is. He's a cultivator at the very top of the Zunqi layer, who has no enemies at the Zun level or below. And Mu Chen is even stronger than Qi Qianxing, said Emperor Tianlong to Jinggu. I understand, teacher, said Jinggu bowing politely. He knew he wasn't strong enough. Even fighting Ho Qinglin was difficult for him. All right, said Emperor Tianlong nodding. He didn't say anything more, but didn't leave either. He was very vigilant. After an hour, he left with the strong cultivators from Tianlong Divine Castle. Lin Feng had been in that empty space for too long already. He couldn't possibly be alive. One day after, in Tianyuan City, the news that Tianlong Divine Castle, Tiantai and the Qi clan had fought, and that 3 emperors had shown up was gossiped everywhere. Besides, after the battle, the Yang clan seemed to have been destroyed and wiped off the map. Lin Feng's death had also caused a storm in Bahuang. Many people were sad for him. He was a genius who was going to rise, and now it was too late. Many people wished to see him become an emperor someday. By killing Lin Feng, they had effectively limited Tiantai's future. More news spread in Bahuang. Emperor Qi had gone to Jiang'a to steal Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword. But in the end he came out calmly, without saying anything and without Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword either. What exactly had happened to Emperor Qi in Jiang'a? Of course, the crowd could only guess, because only Emperor Qi knew what had happened. Even people from Jiang'a didn't know exactly what happened there. Emperor Wu Tianjian's sword had come back home to Jiang'a, but Jiang'a's people didn't understand why. Their ancestor's sword had taken control over Lin Feng's body. It was in his body, so why was it back? Of course, even though Jiang'a was worried that Lin Feng could have died, in the end, they were convinced that he was still alive. They had faith in Lin Feng, and they had put all their hopes on him. The central part of Ba Huang. Sikong Xiao looked sad as he gazed into the distance. What a pity, such a genius. Wen Tiange and Wen Ao Shui were inside a palace at the Wen clan. When Tiange whispered, "How could you die like that?" "Maybe there was a miracle," said Wen Ao Shui. In the bestial imperial palace, the great oriental greenfinch rock said, "Unfortunately, I didn't manage to kill you myself." In the celestial land of alchemists, Shui Bagio sighed and looked sad. In the Qifeng mountain, two beautiful women gazed into the distance, both speechless and sad. In northern Ba Huang, in the Qiu clan, a terrifying and merciless Qi dashed to the skies. Chapter 1322. Battle, Teleportation. Everyone in Ba Huang thought that Lin Feng was already dead. After all, Lin Feng had been caught by a cultivator at the very top of the Zunqi layer from the Qi clan, and now he had been stuck in an empty space for quite a while. According to legends, apart from emperors, nobody could survive inside it. Back on that day, Lin Feng had ended up in the empty space after Mu Chun had wrapped him up with thousands of threads of godly awareness. That place was dark and desolate wasteland. Am I going to die? Lin Feng thought, alone in the darkness. There was a strong wind blowing against his skin. Kacha! Terrifying cracks appeared inside. Mind stabilizer, a voice said. Fire burnt around Lin Feng, and a black lotus appeared under his feet, quickly surrounding his body. Buddy! His friends hadn't let him die. We have to get you out of here, said Yendi. His voice came from the Black Lotus. Lin Feng smiled wryly. Be careful. Terrifying empty space energies moved towards them. But Lin Feng and the Demon Lotus ran away with incredible speed. Lin Feng was soaked in a cold sweat now. Is it possible to break free? Lin Feng asked. I placed a thread of my godly awareness in the Demon Lotus, but it's not strong enough to get you out. By yourself you can't break the empty space, said Yendi hastily. Can you protect him inside? Said another voice. Next to him a silhouette appeared. Brother. Lin Feng was happy to see that silhouette. Even though he had many enemies, there were some people who were always protecting him, like Mu Chun. I know that there's an empty space battlefield, but I don't know the exact geographical coordinates, said Mu Chun. All right, I'll protect you guys as you lead the way, said Yendi firmly, even though he was worried. The lotus became gigantic as it enveloped Lin Feng and Mu Chun. Kaboom! A white light illuminated the sky. Lightning was striking down, but the demon lotus shakily ran away. How dangerous! If I had been here alone, I would already be dead, thought Lin Feng. I have that bed with me. I wonder if it can block those lightning attacks with it, thought Lin Feng, recalling Empress Xi's bed. Even Qi Yun's peerless weapon couldn't destroy the bed. Mu Chun examined the bed and suddenly he looked delighted. You have some great items. Put it above our heads to block the lightning. We'll mind the wind energies around us. All right, said Lin Feng nodding. He put Empress Xi's bed above their heads, and they continued moving ahead. They were slow, but it was too dangerous to move any quicker in there. The empty space energy in here is terrifying, thought Lin Feng. Back in Fortune City, he had seen empty space abstruse energies and territorial empty space abstruse energies, but these were terrifying. A terrifying energy passed above them, making Lin Feng raise his head. Lin Feng's clothes were completely torn to shreds after dodging those assaults. Cracks had appeared in his armor even. Lightning and empty space energies are dangerous. They're a type of abstruse energy, which even emperors have to pay attention, said Mu Chun. Brother, I want to practice cultivation while we're here. Is that okay? Asked Lin Feng. Mu Chen was surprised and smiled wryly. You're quite strong. All right, I'll manage things out here for you. Lin Feng smiled. He couldn't do anything else anyways, so studying empty space energy in here made sense. My life is in your hands, little guy, Lin Feng said to the demon lotus. Lin Feng closed his eyes, and his pupils became black. A dark world appeared in his head as he studied the space around him. Gradually, the sweat on Lin Feng's body disappeared, and he seemed to be less scared. Maybe he had just forgotten about the surroundings, since he was focusing on his cultivation. Lin Feng forgot about time and soon, he forgot about his surroundings. Lin Feng, we're here, said a voice. Lin Feng opened his eyes and saw a battlefield before him, a real battlefield. That's the battlefield the teacher brought me to last time, whispered Lin Feng. Last time, Emperor, you had brought him to several places and Wuxia was fighting on a battlefield similar to this one. If it wasn't this one, that is. The wind is less strong in that thought Lin Feng glancing around. Brother, where are we? asked Lin Feng. He was curious as to why such a battlefield existed in the first place. There's a road from Bahuang to Jiuyu, but if you use geographical coordinates to go there, you end up in a rather terrifying place. The place you see in front of you is that place which connects Bahuang and Jiuyu. It's a kind of bridge. Many strong cultivators from Bahuang and Jiuyu battle here, explained Mu Chen. Since it's the place which connects Jiuyu and Bahuang, why have I never heard of anyone from Jiuyu coming to Bahuang? Asked Lin Feng. Lin Feng, if you go to Jiuyu, will you tell them that you're from Bahuang? You might have seen some geniuses in Bahuang who were actually from Jiuyu. They probably came here to gain experience, and the same applies to Jiuyu. Maybe some people from Bahuang go to Jiuyu to practice cultivation and fight, explained Mu Chen smiling. Chapter 1323. The young blade cultivator, we're lucky, said Mu Chen sighing. Lucky that the wind hadn't killed us, said Lin Feng, smiling thinly. Lin Feng, you're not safe here. People who come here have usually broke through to the 4th Zunqi layer. Even cultivators at the bottom of the Zunqi layer, who come here, usually have the strength of the 4th or 5th Zunqi layer. Besides, on the battlefield, your social status is not important. Those who come here are ready to fight to the death. They are determined and possess an indomitable will. I cannot protect you here, said Mu Chen. Let's go, said Lin Feng. The demon lotus continued moving ahead. Lin Feng, take care of yourself, said Mu Chen, giving a final nod to Lin Feng. All right, said Lin Feng, nodding back to Mu Chen. Then, Mu Chen's silhouette disappeared. The demon lotus brought Lin Feng to the battlefield and turned into a thread of light, which then penetrated into Lin Feng's body and disappeared. Bzzz. A strong wind appeared as Lin Feng stepped on the battlefield. There was a young man in front of him. His hair was messy and his energies were sharp. Even though he had only broken through to the 3rd Zunqi layer, he had the strength of the 5th Zunqi layer. Where did you come from? Asked that cultivator, staring at Lin Feng and pointing at the empty space. Surprisingly, Lin Feng had made it out of an empty space. Where's that demon lotus? Asked the young man. His chi was as sharp as blades, quickly surrounding Lin Feng. What does it have to do with you? Lin Feng snarkily replied. Lin Feng sensed that cultivator's aggressive energies and frowned. You're the first Tian level cultivator who dares talk to me that way, said the young man. He jumped forwards and released both wind and rain energies at Lin Feng. His energies were oppressive, enough so that he could make ordinary Zun cultivators suffocate. Not to mention Tian level cultivators. However, his energies didn't hurt Lin Feng. Lin Feng just looked at him coldly and released some sword energies. The young man was surprised. It was the first he met a Tian level cultivator who could release energies capable of pressuring him. Surprisingly, amongst low-level Zun cultivators, there aren't many people who would provoke me either, said Lin Feng. A terrifying sword chi invaded space around them and rose to the skies. Lin Feng didn't need to say much. Strength was all that mattered here. The young man hadn't expected that Lin Feng would attack him. He released a hand attack which was as sharp as blades at Lin Feng. It contained level 5 empty space abstruse energies. Gotcha! The sword lights and the empty space energies collided, pushing energies out in all directions, before disappearing. He condensed abstruse energies in his sword attack, thought the cultivator, surprised. He hadn't thought that a cultivator of the 9th Tianqi layer could be so strong. Abstruse energies were in that blade. Lin Feng was surprised because the young man's attacks were similar to his own. A genius, thought the young man. This is not a convenient place to fight. We need to find somewhere less dangerous, said the young man. His silhouette flickered and he left. Lin Feng had an empty space behind him, so he didn't feel like fighting near it. That battlefield was vast. Lin Feng was only on the edge, but he could see many people fighting inside. Unsheath your sword, said the young man proudly. Take out your blade then, said Lin Feng. Even though you control several types of abstruse energies, you shouldn't act too arrogantly, because your cultivation level is too low. I won't be merciful when I attack. Use your full strength then, said Lin Feng. I'll finish you quickly then, said the young man. He became one with the wind and disappeared. Wind abstruse energy and it's level 5 too, thought Lin Feng. That cultivator controlled 2 sorts of abstruse energies, and both at level 5. Back, thought Lin Feng. He quickly moved back and dodged a blade. Then he enveloped his own body in wind abstruse energies. The abstruse energies turned into sharp blades, but the young man didn't look worried at all. Another attack moved towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng released sword intent. His attack this time was similar to his opponent's. The collision didn't look so terrifying. The young man stopped and looked at the blade. Then he raised his head. I will behead you with this blade. The blade condensed energies in the air and started emitting whistling sounds. Lin Feng examined it. It was a blade attack with 2 types of level 5 abstruse energies combined. Bzz. The abstruse energies rolled in waves. A sword appeared in Lin Feng's hands which contained 4 types of abstruse energies. Wind, thunder, empty space and desolate. Level 2 wind and thunder abstruse energies. Level 3 empty space abstruse energies. And there's also a kind of destructive abstruse energy, which is level 3 as well. Just what is it? Thought the young man, staring at the sword. Chapter 1324. Kongming the Buddhist monk. Even for Zun cultivators, it wasn't that easy to study abstruse energies. Some geniuses understood a few types of abstruse energies, but quantity and quality had their limits. The young man was already very talented and strong. He was famous in his empire. Even though he only understood 2 types of abstruse energies, he had broken through to the 3rd Zunqi layer, and his abstruse energies were both level 5. He could even condense abstruse energies in his blade attacks. Even though he had only broken through to the 3rd Zunqi layer, he could defeat ordinary cultivators of the 5th Zunqi layer. Of course, that was only against ordinary cultivators of the 5th Zunqi layer. Actually, Lin Feng was amazed too. Lin Feng was wondering if he was from Ba Huang or from Jiuyu. Lin Feng looked at the blade and decided to release sword energies in his hands too. 2 sorts of level 5 abstruse energies. Even with my fusion of 4 different abstruse energies, it's still not enough, thought Lin Feng. Bzz. Lin Feng condensed some fire around his sword. Even though he wasn't able to make the fire fuse with the attack yet, it still added something. 5 types of abstruse energies, said the young man. That fire abstruse energy was already level 2. Die. Finally, the young man's blade moved towards Lin Feng again. Lin Feng looked at his opponent in attack, and released his attack too. The blade and the sword were both incredible fast, and then they collided. Slash slash. The sword lights were defeated by the blade energies. Just as Lin Feng had thought, it still wasn't enough. Empty void, said Lin Feng. As the blade passed next to him, Lin Feng hid in an empty space, and then reappeared after the blade passed by. His back was covered with cold sweat. There was always someone stronger. Of course, Lin Feng was aware that if he had broken through to the 2nd Zunqi layer, he could have easily defeated him. You're not a bad opponent, you can be proud of yourself. I don't feel like attacking you, but that demon lotus looks really special. Give it to me if you don't want me to kill you, said the young man, staring at Lin Feng in a sharp way. I'm sure we'll meet again, said Lin Feng indifferently. His silhouette flickered, and he started running away. You want to escape, But can you? Asked the young man. He released more blade energies, filled with wind abstruse energies, and followed Lin Feng. Bzz. Lin Feng disappeared and reappeared 100 meters farther in another direction. Empty space holy weapon? Thought the young man. He continued chasing Lin Feng. Even though he was moving extremely fast, he still looked confident and at ease. Where are you going? The young man surrounded his body with wind energies and moved even faster. He was now using an empty space abstruse energy agility technique. He kept chasing Lin Feng, however. At that moment, a sword streaked across the sky. The young man looked in that direction and saw two dazzling demonic eyes. Die! The young man sensed death, but quickly came back to his senses. Then he saw a dazzling sword heading towards him. That sword was even more terrifying than all the sword attacks Lin Feng had used before. Piss off! He released a blade attack again, however this time, it was only half as strong as the attacks he had used before. Kaboom! The dazzling sword surprisingly cut the blade energies and continued moving towards the blade cultivator. I need to run, thought the young man. With the wind, he moved fast enough that the sword couldn't reach him, but he was still soaked in a cold sweat. At that moment, Lin Feng was already far away in the distance. Lin Feng didn't pay any attention to him. He was only a random opponent on the battlefield. Killing, getting killed, battling, all those were normal. Lin Feng gazed into the distance ahead of him. Even if the blade cultivator hadn't killed him, other people could still kill him. Lin Feng changed his face and turned into the black mage. Lin Feng realized that the deeper he went into battlefield, that there would be more cultivators. There were people fighting all around him. Those people had no respect for life. They only respected death and power. Many people passed next to Lin Feng, but they didn't pay him any attention. A cultivator of the 9th Tianqi layer wasn't worth fighting. Killing such a cultivator wouldn't contribute in any way to making them stronger. Of course, some people also looked at him in a despising way, as if he were ignorant. How could a Tian-level cultivator come to this battlefield? Lin Feng also found out that apart from him, he had seen no other cultivators of the Tianqi layer. He seemed to be the weakest cultivator there. Lin Feng gazed into the distance and saw someone he knew. That person was surrounded by golden Buddha energies. Surprisingly, he was fighting 6 medium-level Zun cultivators at the same time. He continued chanting mantras in a clear, melodious, pure, deep, far-reaching Brahma voice, which turned into words, which turned into incredibly powerful attacks. The gigantic Buddha behind him attacked and killed a cultivator of the 4th Zunqi layer. Buddha attacks are quite powerful in battle, thought Lin Feng. That person was Kong Ming from the Celestial Thunder Temple, one of the 10 strongest young cultivators in Ba Huang. You're stronger than me, thought Lin Feng. 2nd Zunqi layer, level 5 abstruse energies, explosive attacks, gigantic Buddha hands, indestructible body. In the blink of an eye, Kong Ming killed 4 cultivators of the 4th Zunqi layer. The last 2 cultivators were starting to get afraid, and surprisingly started running away. But the Buddha lights reached them anyways and killed them. It would be wrong to assume that Buddha energies were holy. They could be used as evil energies as well. The Buddhist monk of the Celestial Thunder Temple was a sanguinary killer. Back in Fortune City, Kong Ming was the most mysterious cultivator. He had asked the diviner not to tell him anything, but according to the diviner's reaction, one could guess that he was probably as strong as She with his imperial immortal body. Thought Lin Feng. Being discreet didn't he was weak. We were meant to meet again, said a voice. Lin Feng turned around and saw someone else he knew. Yiren Lei. Chapter 1325. Traveling with Yi Lang Yiren Lei instantly recognized Lin Feng as the Black Mage. He had seen him in the small world in Shuiyu where he obtained the demon flute. Sikong Xiao, Yiren Lei and Mu Fanshan all wanted to steal it, but in the end, Lin Feng had forced Sikong Xiao to hand it over to him. Yiren Lei, I trust you have been doing well since we last met, said Lin Feng, releasing demonic energies and looking particularly evil. Yiren Lei stood there, looking at him in a seducing way. You know my name, but I don't know yours. You never introduced yourself. Lin Feng was extremely strong. He could definitely compete with one of the 10 strongest young cultivators. Sikong Xiao. Yi Renlei had seen him only once, but she had been amazed at that time. Which powerful group did that black mage belong to? Apart from using the sorcerer's arts, he also knew demonic skills. In Ba Huang, he could have been considered one of the 10 strongest young cultivators. Mu Feng, I'm a loner. I travel around all the time as a nomad. I've traveled through Ba Huang in the past, so I obviously know about one of the 4 most beautiful women of Ba Huang. Yi Renlei, said Lin Feng. Mu Feng, Lin Feng, thought Yi Renlei, recalling Lin Feng. Unfortunately, she had heard that he died. What's wrong, celestial girl? Asked Lin Feng. I just remembered one of my friends, he's similar to you. He's also at the 9th Tianqi layer. He defeated some of the 10 strongest young cultivators. I don't know if you've ever heard of him though, said Yi Renlei. You mean Lin Feng? Asked Lin Feng, smiling. So you know him. Unfortunately, the Qi clan and Tianlong Divine Castle joined hands to attack him, and they imprisoned him in an empty space, banishing him from ever coming out. Sighed Yi Renlei. Is he dead? Asked Lin Feng. Did everyone think he was dead? Yes, or at least, if he's not dead, then he will have to demonstrate his extraordinary talents at the meeting of the emperors, which has been postponed, said Yi Renlei, smiling. Postponed, whispered Lin Feng. He didn't understand what the meeting of the emperors was about. He hadn't asked his teachers or high-ranking fellow disciples. Yi Renlei, what is the meeting of the emperors and why has it been postponed? Don't you know about it? Asked Yi Renlei, smiling. She looked surprised. If Lin Feng was speaking the truth, then maybe he really wasn't from any influential imperial groups. But then how come he was such an incredible fighter? Was he from Jiuyu? In Yi Renlei's opinion, if Lin Feng had been a member of an influential imperial group, he would have been a core disciple. So how could he not know about the meeting of the emperors? I don't know, he said, shrugging. You'll know when you join in. And the meeting has been postponed, because the emperors of Tiantai asked for it to be postponed. However, it will still take place soon, in the next 100 days or so, said Yi Renlei. Surprisingly, she didn't hide any details from Lin Feng. Tiantai, 100 days. Lin Feng seemed pensive. It was impossible to see what he was thinking about though. During those 100 days, he definitely needed to break through to the Zunqi layer, no matter what. Yi Renlei, us meeting is fate, we should travel together. What do you think? Asked Lin Feng. Yi Renlei looked at him, as if she wanted to see Lin Feng, but she could only see his pitch-black eyes. Won't you regret if you stay with me? Asked Yi Renlei, smiling in a seducing way. Lin Feng's heart twitched, but he remained calm. Of course I won't, said Lin Feng. He didn't know how to go back to Ba Huang, and there were only 2 directions out of there. One was to Ba Huang, and the other was to Jiuyu. Great, then you can protect me, said Yi Renlei. Her voice seemed like she could bewitch Lin Feng. Yi Renlei started walking. Lin Feng looked at her from behind and sighed. Did she need him to protect her? That girl already understood 4 different types of abstruse energies, and her strength was unfathomable. Yilang, run! After a short time, a group of people appeared in front of Yilang Run and Lin Feng. They were all medium-level Zun cultivators. They looked deathly pale, as if they were sick. Church of Desire, thought Lin Feng immediately. They had similar attacks as the Heavens of Desire's palace. They were evil, deathly pale, perverted, and they were terribly attracted by Yi Renlei. But they didn't care about Yi Renlei's social status in that place. Yi Renlei smiled at Lin Feng. She looked so cute. You take 3 of them and I'll take 2 of them. How does that sound? Said Yi Renlei, smiling. I would love to offer my help to you, said Lin Feng to Yilang Ren. In Ba Huang, many people believe that even though Yilang Ren practices the Kamat Hatu, the 6 heavens of desire and passion skills, she is still pure as jade and clean as ice. Could she still be a virgin? Or is it that you are sleeping with that cultivator of the Tianqi layer? Either way, we'll show you what pleasure really means, all 5 of us, said one of them, looking over Yi Renlei's body. They all laughed. Yi Renlei looked unperturbed when she said, It's better to accept deferentially than to decline courteously. Deference is no substitute for obedience. Lang Run made their voices tremble, and their bodies shake from head to foot. "Be careful," shouted the leader of the group. Run Lei's voice was resonating in their souls and in their hearts. On the left of the leader, one of the cultivators wasn't as determined and seemed to be falling, but immediately, he came back to his senses as if nothing had happened. "Piss off," shouted a voice furiously. Illusion strength. Lin Feng knew that Run Lei could use illusion strength to fight. At the same time, Lin Feng also attacked, throwing himself at the one on the very right. Those 5 people didn't care about him. Instead, 4 of them threw themselves at Run Lei. Only the one on the right smiled in a cold way when he saw Lin Feng heading towards him. "Look at me," shouted Lin Feng furiously. That person fell for it and looked straight into Lin Feng's pitch-black eyes. Kaboom! Explosion sounded. In the blink of an eye, Lin Feng punched his opponent's head aggressively and killed him instantly. Even though those 5 cultivators were medium-level Zoom cultivators, on the battlefield, they didn't seem that confident. They stayed together as a pack. Actually, they were far from being as strong as Lin Feng. The others heard those sounds and turned their heads to look at Lin Feng. Boom! Lin Feng released more demonic energies. He was trying to turn them into demons. "What's going on?" thought the others looking at Lin Feng. Run Lei smiled. Chapter 1326. Your Highness. Very quickly, 5 corpses littered the ground. Lin Feng and Run Lei killed them all. After breaking through to the Zunqi layer, Run Lei's illusion strength has become terrifying, said Lin Feng. With the strength of the 9th Tianqi layer, your demonic energies and your cursing strength are already terrifying. You killed 2 cultivators of the 4th Zunqi layer and a cultivator of the 5th Zunqi layer. If you hadn't helped, I wouldn't have had such an easy time with the cultivator of the 5th Zunqi layer. It's your victory more so than mine, said Lin Feng. Let's continue. Even stronger cultivators are waiting for you in here, said Run Lei smiling. Lin Feng walked ahead with her, where they encountered many people who provoked them, but they weren't that strong. Even if they were interested in fighting them, it was only because of Run Lei's beauty. Lin Feng didn't exist in those strong cultivators' eyes. Have you ever fought against him? Asked Lin Feng, looking at Kong Ming in the distance. They were walking in the same direction, so it was probably the direction of Ba Huang. Impossible, said Run Lei smiling. Is he that strong? Asked Lin Feng. He didn't know if she was just being modest. Believe me or not, many of the 10 strongest young cultivators can't defeat him, said Run Lei. Many people only see the tip of the iceberg, but apart from the 10 strongest young cultivators themselves, nobody really knows how strong they are. For example, Lin Feng had defeated Qi Tiansheng before he became famous. Then there is you. Nobody knows you, but you could definitely defeat some of the 10 strongest young cultivators, explained Run Lei. Besides, they're not necessarily all equivalent in terms of battling abilities. Or like you, nobody knows how good you really are at battling, said Lin Feng smiling. Run Lei smiled sweetly after she heard Lin Feng, but didn't say much. Over the next few hours, Lin Feng's qi became more cold, and he realized that Run Lei's qi had changed too. She didn't look as seducing anymore. Her qi had become rather cold. Besides, if Lin Feng hadn't stayed next to her the entire time, he wouldn't have thought it was the same Lang Run from the heavens of Desire's palace. Run Lei, how long is this place which connects Jiuyu and Ba Huang? It has existed for many, many years. We would need 3 hours to go from one place to the other, replied Run Lei. She sounded relaxed, like she wasn't trying to seduce him. 3 hours to cross. Lin Feng was surprised. It was completely different from the outside world. The space here didn't represent the actual distance outside. This is a convenient way to travel from Jiuyu to Ba Huang, and vice versa then. If you're strong enough, a few more battles, and you can reach the other side. You will also have to defeat the guards. Each of Jiuyu's exits has a guard for each of the 12 empires, said Run Lei. But how did Run Lei know that there were guards at the exits? Was it the heavens of Desire's palace who had told her that? What a beautiful girl, said someone evilly. Someone else was looking at Lei in a perverted way. Lei didn't pay attention to them, so that person smiled and said, "And cold. I like it women with a strong personality." He then opened his arms, wanting to force Lei to hug him. However, a strong chi surrounded him and covered him with a layer of ice. Slash. The enemy shook violently and then collapsed. Lin Feng stopped. Lei turned around and smiled. "Sorry about that." "Haha, I'm just surprised," said Lin Feng. "Water abstruse energies level 5. You chose the path," said Lei smiling. Lin Feng was suddenly curious and intrigued by this new personality. He continued walking at the same speed. Now and then, people wanted to fight, but Lei immediately dealt with them. After an hour, Lin Feng realized that they still hadn't made it to the exit. According to Lei, they only needed 3 hours to cross the entire battlefield. Assuming they started near Bahuang, they should have arrived in Bahuang after an hour and a half, but they had already been walking for 2 hours. Lin Feng understood what it meant. Lei's goal wasn't Bahuang, but Jiuyu. Lin Feng asked, "Lei, will you go back to Bahuang for the meeting of the emperors?" Lei was surprised when she heard Lin Feng, but said, "Of course." "All right, then let's have a walk in Jiuyu," said Lin Feng. "It won't be a pleasant trip, it'll be a terrifying adventure," said Lei, as they continued walking towards Jiuyu. However, as they continued, a strong wind started blowing. Lin Feng was surprised because that person was the young man he had fought when he had first arrived in that place. But the young man didn't recognize him anymore. He was staring at Lei instead. After Lin Feng thought the young man would attack, he watched him kneel down and say, "Your Highness." Chapter 1327, Kill Lei. "Your Majesty," said the young man. That cultivator of the third Zunqi layer, who controlled 2 types of abstruse energies, and whose abstruse energies were level 5, was calling Lei, "Your Majesty." Dual chi and a dual status. Lin Feng thought. Mu Chen had told him that on the passage between Jiuyu and Bahuang there were people from both Jiuyu and Bahuang. He hadn't thought that Lei was originally from Jiuyu and had come to Bahuang later. "Stand up," said Lei calmly. The young man stood up and looked at her. Those days there were some rumors about the princess, but Dao He, the young blade cultivator, didn't believe them. Dao He looked at Lin Feng and sensed his sharp energies. "Your Highness, who's that?" asked Dao He, staring at Lin Feng. "What does that have to do with you?" said Lei indifferently. Then they continued walking. Lei just glanced at him indifferently. Dao He's silhouette flickered, and he landed behind Lei saying, "When the Empire heard that your Highness was coming back, the clan sent me here to pick you up. It's a good thing that I came across you. The strong cultivators from the Empire are also here to greet you." "All right," said Lei nodding. Dao He was annoyed because Lei didn't say anything else. He was from an empire, so he couldn't let Lei go out with a cultivator of the 9th Tianqi layer. "There's a deadly energy," said Lin Feng, stopping. "Someone wanted to kill them." Lei and Dao He stopped too. As expected, once they stopped, 3 groups of 4 cultivators appeared. Each group of 4 had a cultivator of the 5th Zunqi layer, and 3 cultivators of the 4th Zunqi layer. "Your Highness, we must leave immediately," said Dao He. Then, he released empty space abstruse energies and began running ahead. "Die!" shouted Dao He. His dazzling blade streaked across the sky. "Dao He!" The facial expressions of that group of 4 people changed drastically. They ran backwards as fast as they could. They weren't quick enough though. Those 4 were immediately killed. Lin Feng and Lei also attacked the other groups. Lei condensed water abstruse energies as she attacked them. In a flash, they killed 3 of them, and killing the last one would be easy for her. Lin Feng killed one of them with sword energies. Then, he punched the second with demonic energies which he had condensed in his fists. "Die!" Lin Feng fused cursing and desolate abstruse energies together, and threw himself at a cultivator. At the same time, he sensed sharp blade energies surround him. Bzzz. Lin Feng disappeared using empty space energies. Blade energies appeared, and immediately destroyed the remaining 3 people. Lin Feng turned around and looked at Dao He. If he had been too slow, he would have died. Empty space teleportation? Dao He frowned. He didn't recognize Lin Feng, but he remembered fighting someone who used such powers. You almost killed me, said Lin Feng. You were in the way, said Dao He. Boom. Lin Feng released demonic intent. His pitch-black eyes looked even more menacing. Dao He sensed the demon intent was corroding his soul. I will destroy you, said Lin Feng. You're a useless slave, kneel down insect, said Lin Feng. His voice resonated in Dao He's brain. No, I'm Dao He. I'm an imperial descendant. Dao He's eyes looked determined. Even emperors must show respect to a demon emperor. During this life, you are doomed to kneel down to more powerful people, said Lin Feng. Dao He's determination was slowly being whittled away. At that moment, Yirun Lei had already killed another cultivator. She was now watching Lin Feng surprised. No, you're ruining my determination, shouted Dao He furiously. However, at the same time, Lin Feng jumped and landed in front of Dao He. A gigantic demon hand appeared, containing cursing and desolate abstruse energies. Piss off, shouted Dao He furiously. The gigantic hand descended from the sky and hit Dao He's body. A big wound appeared on his chest. At the same time, other terrifying energies rose. Dao He's facial expression changed drastically and he shouted, Stop! Stop! Lin Feng frowned and saw that other strong cultivators were coming. They were much stronger than the cultivators before. They were all cultivators of the 5th and 6th Zunqi layer. They're all attacking Yirun Lei. They want to kill her, thought Lin Feng. There were 100 more days before the meeting of the emperors. But Lin Feng didn't know why she was going back to Jiuyu, nor why so many people wanted to kill her. It won't be a pleasant trip, it'll be a terrifying adventure, recalled Lin Feng. Lin Feng glanced at Dao He and said, There won't be a next time. Dao He groaned coldly and fearlessly. I don't want to see a next time either, said Yirun Lei to Dao He. Dao He was upset at first but then nodded. Your Highness, I contacted the strong cultivators of the clan already. We only need to hold out for a little longer, said Dao He. Then, he turned around, and a purple blade twinkled in the air. Die! Their chi was terrifying. A gigantic hand appeared in the sky. Break! Shouted Dao He while condensing his own abstruse energies. His blade slashed, however. A strong sword light moved towards his blade. At the same time, 2 cultivators of the 6th Zunqi layer threw themselves at Yirun Lei. One of them had sharp golden energies while the other one had wind energies. Oh no, looks bad, thought Lin Feng. Chapter 1328. Obvious murderous intentions. Yirun Lei released more energies after seeing them approaching. Her energies turned into a watery cage to block the enemy's attack. Their energies became a rain as they hit the cage. A dazzling golden light did capture Yirun Lei, however. Her silhouette became distorted, and she managed to get away. She could turn into water when attacked. Help me block one of them, Yirun Lei said to Lin Feng using telepathy. The other one released wind energies, which quickly surrounded her. Lin Feng looked at them and instantly realized that they had broken through to the 6th Zunqi layer. So if any of their attacks reached them, they'd die. The difference between the 5th and the 6th Zunqi layer was that large. I'll fight against the one with the golden abstruse energies, sighed Lin Feng using telepathy, while taking out a scepter. Die! The scepter turned into a cursing tree and headed towards that cultivator with the golden energies. Take! That cultivator created a gigantic hand, which moved towards the ancient tree. He immediately grabbed it, and throwing Lin Feng's body away. Curse, said Lin Feng. The scepter released energies at the gigantic hand, and started corroding it. Bzzz. That cultivator suddenly looked horrified. He wanted to move his hand back, but blood already appeared. You must want to die, said that cultivator. He stretched out his hand, and a golden tower appeared with golden marks on it. Die! Shouted the cultivator. The tower became gigantic, so large that it was going to crush Lin Feng like an ant. Come out! Lin Feng took out his bed, and put it above his head. Kaboom! The golden tower crashed onto the bed, leaving Lin Feng's arms numb. That tower had forced half of Lin Feng's body into the ground. You're quite tough, said the enemy, while releasing more oppressive energies. Boom! Lin Feng released demonic qi this time. The golden tower was above Lin Feng's head again. But then he suddenly disappeared and reappeared in front of the enemy. His scepter aimed straight for the enemy's head. Kaboom! The golden tower hit the ground and exploded. Lin Feng was feeling a bit lucky to have his cloak to teleport with. Deadly soul curse! Shouted Lin Feng furiously. Suddenly, it was like ghosts were wailing, their lamentations resonating in everyone else's brains and corroding their determination. Destroy! Shouted a strong cultivator furiously. His body became surrounded by golden lights as he threw himself at Lin Feng. The space around them turned completely golden, and Lin Feng felt weighed down, like several mountains were resting on his shoulders. That cultivator of the 6th Zunqi layer had attacked Lin Feng a few times, but still hadn't managed to kill him. Lin Feng took a few steps back, but was still stuck in the golden world. Even though Peerless holy weapons were powerful, the cultivator who used them also had to be strong. Lin Feng looked at his quickly approaching enemy, and then at the bodies on the ground, the 20-something people he had killed before. Deadly curse technique. Lin Feng used his scepter to release more energies. Immediately after, the bodies started to stand up. Die, said Lin Feng. The corpses' eyes were twinkling with black lights as they moved towards the enemy. At the same time, Lin Feng attacked the golden world with his scepter again. He knew that the bodies couldn't withstand the enemy's attacks. Curse gold! The golden energies faded and Lin Feng rose up in the air, surrounded by demonic qi. Where are you going? Shouted the cultivator, chasing Lin Feng. Lin Feng punched the air in his direction. Kaboom! Lin Feng was violently propelled backwards and crashed into the ground. Many of his bones were broken. Lin Feng invoked his blood strength. Even though he hadn't broken through to the Zunqi layer yet, he had dragon blood. Lin Feng also swallowed some vitality water and released vitality abstruse energies to heal his body. However, he didn't have much time before the enemies closed in on him. Lin Feng opened his third eye and turned into a demonic beast. Do you think using your godly awareness is of any use? Asked the enemy. A golden hand headed in his direction again. Bestial consciousness open, said Lin Feng. Desolate qi poured out from within him. That pure desolate qi could corrode anything. Even the golden lights faded some. Ah! The strong cultivator gave a horrible shriek. His eyes were hit by the desolate qi, preventing him from opening his eyes. Die! Die! Lin Feng and his enemy shouted at the same time. Lin Feng aimed his scepter at the enemy's head while the enemy pierced through the desolate qi and aimed straight towards Lin Feng. Die! Die! Shouted Lin Feng, releasing more and more demonic qi. Apart from the demonic qi, he also released Ling Long's celestial qi. Kaboom! Cracks started appearing on the enemy's head. At the same time, the enemy caught up to Lin Feng. Lin Feng's bones were cracking, and his viscera felt like they were going to explode. Lin Feng was propelled backwards, crashing into the ground 100 meters away. Blood splashed everywhere. A gigantic golden handprint was left on his chest. Luckily, he had finally managed to hurt the enemy, but he had used all the desolate qi from the Huangxi he had previously absorbed. Yirenlei was also in a bad situation. She was injured. She was only managing to evade lethal blows, nothing more. Father! Shouted a Daohi furiously. A group of strong cultivators arrived, and all the enemies suddenly looked destabilized. A strong wind started blowing and tornadoes appeared. Slash slash. Blade lights appeared everywhere and blood spilt. The wind became calmer. Yirenlei appeared from out of the chaos. Her clothes were a bit torn. Your Majesty, said a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer, bowing before Yirenlei in a respectful way. At the same time, the other strong cultivators wiped the blood and dust off Daohi's face. Then, they all ran to Yirenlei and bowed. Thank you very much everyone for your help, said Yirenlei, glancing at them. She didn't look particularly troubled. Then, she went to Lin Feng and saw the body of the cultivator, of the 6th Zunqi layer, whom Lin Feng had killed. You're amazing, said Yirenlei, smiling in a way which sufficed to make anyone fall in love. The strong cultivators behind her couldn't see her face, but they could tell from her voice that she didn't sound that cold. Dao He's father frowned and glanced at him in a cold way. "Your Highness, who's that?" asked Dao Gu, hastily walking towards Lin Feng, not hiding his coldness. Lin Feng was surprised. Why did that guy want to kill him? "Watch your words," said Yi Renlei. "I understand, but for your safety that person must leave," said Dao Gu furiously. Yi Renlei glanced at him, and then walked next to Lin Feng. She grabbed his arm and said, "He's my boyfriend." Chapter 1329. Ice Empire, he's my boyfriend, said Yi Renlei. Everybody was speechless, especially Dao He. Lin Feng was astonished as well. But he quickly came back to his senses and glanced at the crowd with his pitch-black eyes. "You shouldn't tarnish your reputation, even if you want to protect him," said Dao Gu, trying to judge Lin Feng. "Do you think I'm joking?" asked Yi Renlei, leaning against Lin Feng and looking at those people rudely. Lin Feng stared at Dao Gu as well. That was a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer. If they were in Ba Huang, he'd be a core member of an influential imperial group. "Dao Gu, Her Majesty has come back with the man she loves. What is the problem with that?" said an old man walking towards them. He was also a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer. "I just thought he might be a bandit, but since Her Majesty is not joking, of course I'm happy for her. The Dao family is happy to welcome her back to the empire," said Dao Gu. All the members of the Dao family moved aside and let Yi Renlei pass. "Your Highness, welcome back to the empire," said the old cultivator. "Thank you," said Yi Renlei. Then she dragged Lin Feng, and they walked forwards. Nobody caused them trouble anymore, since they were now surrounded by such amazing cultivators. After a short time of walking, they arrived at the end of the path. In front of Lin Feng were 12 passages. The ones leading the way chose a path. They were all moving quickly as the passage was quite long. But even then, it took them half an hour to reach the exit. There were empty space energies waiting for them at the exit. "Please, Your Highness," said Dao Gu and the other cultivators, stopping. The exit was very small, for it was only a crack in the space. "Let's go out," said Yi Renlei, dragging Lin Feng along. Once they arrived on the other side, Lin Feng quickly realized that he was surrounded by ice-cold energies, and some more people even. "I'm back," whispered Yi Renlei. When they walked out of that cave, Lin Feng was surrounded by 2 stone men on each of his sides who looked ice-sculpted people. Lin Feng were convinced that they were real people. "Guards," thought Lin Feng. Those 2 had to be the guards, but they didn't react at all. Lin Feng continued walking ahead before finally arriving outside. It was a vast area with buildings everywhere. The crowd in the distance looked tiny, like specks of dust. He was on a lofty glacier which was 10,000 meters tall, only halfway up a building. "What's above our heads?" asked Lin Feng. "We can go and you'll see," said Yi Renlei while walking up. Lin Feng shrugged and followed. He was injured, but it didn't matter. In the distance, there was a building which was higher than any of the clouds, but it was blurry behind the mist. In my previous world, if people had seen that, they wouldn't have thought so highly of the Potala Palace, whispered Lin Feng. That palace in the distance was 1,000,000 times bigger than the Potala Palace. "Jiu Ice Empire," whispered Yi Renlei. Lin Feng nodded and saw 2 cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer approaching. Yi Renlei was the princess of one of the 12 empires in Jiu, a high-level empire. "Your Majesty," said Dao Gu and the others, "we'll be taking you back to the palace to ensure your safety." Yi Renlei nodded, and they rose up in the air, moving towards that gigantic building. Yi Renlei's palace was the farthest one away, and the highest up. "You can go back now," said Yi Renlei to Dao Gu and the others once they arrived in front of her palace. "Your Highness, since I'm back, nobody will attack me anymore. I don't want to be disturbed," said Yi Renlei, glaring at Dao Gu and interrupting him. Dao Gu had no choice but to nod and say, "Have a good rest, Your Highness. I'm going to inform the Snow Queen." "Your Highness, we're off," said another cultivator respectfully. Then they left. Dao He was the last one to leave. Before he left, he glanced at Lin Feng in a cold way. After everybody left, Yi Renlei looked at Lin Feng, and he stared back at her. Are you feeling uncertain, my love? Said Runley, smiling. She didn't look that cold anymore, instead smiling and looking alluring. Each palace around hers was gigantic, but hers was the largest. It had a restrictive chi around it, barring anyone other than those Runley herself brought to it. Lin Feng said, Her Majesty, the Princess of the Snow Empire wouldn't want me to become a descendant of the Empire. Don't worry, you're the only one so far. Maybe that's someday, sighed Runley in a gentle voice, looking at Lin Feng in a seducing way. She walked towards him, pressed her lips against his ear and said, Lin Feng, I knew you couldn't die that easily. If the Qi clan and Tianlong Divine Castle knew you were still alive with how much they've lost, they'd go insane. Even the emperors had showed up. Could you imagine? Said Runley, smiling. How can you be sure I'm Lin Feng? Asked Lin Feng calmly. Cursing energies, 9th Tian Qi layer, terrifying battling abilities, several abstruse energies, and the vitality water. How could I not know? Asked Runley, smiling. I was surprised because Lin Feng likes using sword, and you use cursing energies. But surprisingly, you're the same person. No wonder you wanted the demon flute the other day, and after giving it up so easily, you came back for it under another persona. Everybody has their secrets. You too. Desire, illusion, transformation, dodging, vitality, and water abstruse energies. In Ba Huang, you're the holy girl of the heavens of Desire's palace, and in Jiu Yu you're a cold and noble princess. Why did you go to Ba Huang? And why did you study desire cultivation? Asked Lin Feng. During the next 100 days, you will understand. After all, you're my boyfriend now, at least for these 100 days. Said Runley, smiling. All right, my love, get ready. We'll be seeing my father and mother, the emperors and the leaders of my country. Chapter 1330. Runley's Seduction. Ice Emperor Snow Leader? Asked Lin Feng. They're all cultivation emperors? Indeed, said Runley, smiling. Jiu Yu and Ba Huang should be similar, while the holy city is the most mysterious place of all. Xiaoye told me that, whispered Lin Feng. He couldn't expect to go to the holy city, the very center of the continent of the 9 clouds. However, Lin Feng rarely heard people talk about the holy city. Lang Ren, do you know anything about the holy city? Asked Lin Feng. I just heard that the holy city is the centralmost part of the continent of the 9 clouds. Only the strongest cultivators go there. I also asked about the holy city, but my father, mother, teachers, etc. wouldn't tell me anything about it. They only said that I'll know when the right time comes. Said Runley. But I've heard that the meeting of the emperors, to which Jiu Yu and Ba Huang also participate in, has something to do with the holy city. Said Runley. In Lin Feng's circle, apart from the legendary emperors, only Mr. Xiao, Xiaoye, and Meng Qing's mother had been to the holy city, but Mr. Xiao and Meng Qing's mother hadn't told him anything about it. Maybe the emperors have been there, but they don't want to talk about it, thought Lin Feng. Even though emperors' lives had limits, they could at least live for 1,000 years. High-level emperors could even live up to 10,000 years. Besides, amongst the emperors in Ba Huang, were there none who could become a great cultivation emperor? Everything seemed to be pointing to the holy city. Maybe there, Lin Feng would learn more about the legends he heard about, and the history of some of the older emperors. As Runley had expected, it wasn't long before a Qi appeared in the distance. Lin Feng and Runley raised their heads, and saw a bunch of people wearing ice and snow armors. Your Highness, welcome to the Ice Empire. The sun was shining off their armors, so Lin Feng could see the person's face, but he could tell he wasn't very nice from his tone. Lin Feng recalled that some people had tried to kill her, and that Dao Gu and the others protected her. Lin Feng had the feeling that something was going on in the palace, but Runley didn't know about it. But those people were incredibly powerful. Even normal soldiers were low-level Zun cultivators, while the leader was a cultivator of the 4th Zun Qi layer. Who are you talking to? Asked Runley when the soldiers sensed Runley's coldness. They looked angry and said, Your Highness, we said all we had to say, so we're off. My love, do you see how people treat me? Said Runley. With your strength you can kill them easily, said Lin Feng. Yi Runlei looked at him angrily. She seemed to be blaming him for not helping. How am I of any value here? Asked Lin Feng. Yi Runlei smiled thinly and said, You just have to pretend that you're my boyfriend, that's all. Lin Feng shrugged and said, I don't like being used by people. Tell me what you're scheming, otherwise if anything happens, I won't stay on your side. Yi Runlei suddenly looked terribly beautiful and seducing. In Jiuyu, there are only 12 emperors. Although there are fewer emperors here than in Bahuang, Jiuyu is more powerful than Bahuang. Besides, Jiuyu is 5 times bigger than Bahuang, and the real power of the 12 empires lies in their temples. The 12 shrines. There is the symbol of the Ice and Snow Empire, our shrine, said Yi Runlei while pointing to a temple. I've heard that the 12 temples come from the holy city. I also know that even the emperors can't go to the shrines as they wish. Only before the Imperial Alliance's meeting will they open. This is the equivalent of the meeting of the emperors in Bahuang. Also, the Imperial Alliance meeting and the meeting of the emperors are going to be on the same day. Lin Feng listened to Yi Runlei intently. Do those things have anything to do with me? Asked Lin Feng. Of course, in the history of the Ice and Snow Empire, the ruler has never allowed the women of the empire to go to the shrine. Until the snow leader appeared, that is. She wanted to break that rule, but there was an unprecedented resistance. Finally, there was a regression, and the rule became, women can go to the shrine only with their lover. Said Yi Runlei. Lin Feng asked, I don't understand, what is the point of that rule? The Ice and Snow Empire has always been controlled by emperors. According to legends, the Ice Goddess will only transmit her knowledge to a woman who lost her purity. Said Yi Runlei, leaning against Lin Feng. She wanted Lin Feng to have compassion for her. So if women want to go there, it actually doesn't depend on the man. It's just that the woman must have lost her virginity, said Lin Feng, looking at her beautiful face. Indeed, said Yi Runlei, nodding. Why me? Because I'm still a virgin, said Yi Runlei, smiling at him in a seducing way. My lover, you know how I want to use you. I want you to make love to me. I don't want to be pure anymore. That was any man's dream. Having sex with the holy girl of the heavens of Desire's palace, the princess of the Ice and Snow Empire. Why me? You said you wanted to travel with me. I never thought about it, but then I realized that the Black Mage and Lin Feng were the same person, and was amazed. Why wouldn't I choose an outstanding man to lose my virginity to? What if you hadn't encountered me? Asked Lin Feng. I would have chosen someone here in Jiuyu or maybe Daohi, said Yi Runlei. Lin Feng didn't feel comfortable. She was cruel to herself, cruel to him. Because she wanted to go to the Ice and Snow Shrine, she would sleep with any man. Is that worth it? You're the holy woman of the heavens of Desire's palace, the princess of the Ice and Snow Empire. I know that there will be such a day in the future, but I want to receive the transmissions of the goddess right now, said Yi Runlei, smiling. All right, my love, let's enjoy the pleasures of lust. You have already broken through to the top of the Tianqi layer. Maybe this will help you break through to the Zunqi layer. Besides, am I really that disgusting? Lin Feng shook his head and smiled wryly. How could she be ugly or disgusting? Chapter 1331. Influence in the Empire. Lin Feng moved his head closer to her, stretched his hand, and touched her chin. He smiled thinly and said, So seducing me and then abandoning me won't be a problem for you? Yi Runlei smiled and stretched her slender white hands, putting them around Lin Feng's neck. He could smell her breath. She was so close to him. In 100 days, I'll still be Yi Run and you'll still be Lin Feng. During those 100 days, you can make love to me whenever and as much as you want, my love, said Yi Runlei, turning Lin Feng on even more. Lin Feng removed his hands from her chin, and she pulled her hands away from him. He didn't look at her again. Desire abstruse energies could make any man fall, and he was afraid to fall for her. Didn't we want to go see the Ice Emperor and the Snow Leader? Asked Lin Feng, walking away. Yi Runlei looked at him angrily and followed him, making small, cute steps. She caught up with him and grabbed his arm. My love, so do you want me to give Daohi my virginity? Daohi? Lin Feng's eyes flashed with cold lights. The first time he had seen him, Lin Feng didn't mind him, but the second time he saw him, Dao He had attacked him by surprise. The third straw was when the Dao clan had arrived, and he had released murderous energies while looking at Lin Feng. They both walked for a bit, and arrived near a gigantic ice palace. It reached the clouds and the sun was shining on the ice, but wasn't melting. It looked like it was made of crystals rather than ice. There weren't any guards in the main hall, because a place like that didn't need guards. "Run, my little girl, you're here," said someone in a gentle way, even though Lin Feng and Run Lei hadn't even arrived yet. Lin Feng and Run Lei made it to the middle of the main palace. It was filled with an incredible qi. There was ice outside, but inside everything was golden. There were carvings of a beautiful girl on the stone pillars. Some people were sitting at the end of the room, a few dozen actually. The ones who attracted the most attention were the two people at the very front, to the left and the right. On the left was a well-proportioned middle-aged man, who looked at Lin Feng in a cold way. That person was probably the Ice Emperor. On the right was a woman who looked simple, elegant, clean. She was wearing a snowy robe. She was probably very old, but she looked like she was 24. Lin Feng sighed, and reminded himself that being strong was a good way to remain beautiful. Many people were sitting at their feet. Many of the young men looked noble and heroic. Their qi was incredible, and they had imposing appearances. They were probably the descendant of feudal aristocrats. Dao Gu and Dao He, and the other strong cultivators at the top of the Zunqi layer, as well as a young man, were sitting at the feet of the snow leader. "Father, mother," said Ren Lei, holding Lin Feng's arm and bowing in front of them. Lin Feng also bowed in front of them. "Mr. Madam, my daughter is even more beautiful," said the snow leader, standing up and walking over to Ren Lei. She touched her face, but Lin Feng found it strange because they looked like sisters, not mother and daughter. The snow leader turned around and looked at Lin Feng. She smiled thinly and said, "That's my daughter's handsome little boyfriend." Lin Feng was speechless. "Little boyfriend? All right, come and sit." The snow leader dragged Ren Lei, and Ren Lei dragged Lin Feng to sit at her feet too. "Run." At that moment, the Ice Emperor looked at Ren Lei. "Father," said Ren Lei in a cold way, "there are millions of men in the empire, and I have so many sons who are all extraordinary. If you like one of them, I can help you marry them. Why did you choose this random guy?" asked the Ice Emperor. Lin Feng now understood that those people weren't Ren Lei's parents, even though she called them her parents. It seems like the balance of power is completely different here, and in Bahuang province. Even though emperors are the most respected people here, and even if there are two emperors in one empire, it seems impossible for two emperors to be as close as those in Tiantai, thought Lin Feng. It was as Ren Lei had said. The Ice Emperor didn't wish that Ren Lei would go to the shrine to keep the lineage pure, while the snow leader wanted her to lose her purity, but with one of his own. "You're overthinking things, father. How could I bring a random man?" said Ren Lei, leaning against Lin Feng and smiling in a gentle way. Dao He looked furious. He had never seen Ren Lei act like that. She seemed to be genuinely in love. "If there's anything you have doubts about before I go to the shrine, I can prove that I'm right," said Ren Lei. Everybody understood what kind of proof she was talking about. The Ice Emperor nodded and said, "Since you have already made a decision, I won't say anything more. I just think it's a pity that I have so many sons, and that you're not interested in a single one of them." "That's not true. I'm just afraid that I'm not good enough for them. They're all so outstanding," said Ren Lei modestly. She couldn't choose one of the Ice Emperor's sons, otherwise she wouldn't be in control of her life anymore. Without Lin Feng, she would have had to choose Dao He. "I think you're destroying your future," said someone else in a cold way. It was a young man wearing an imperial robe. He was tall and looked noble. He looked at Ren Lei and continued, "You should understand that we want to protect you because we're part of the same family. Instead, you brought a random man, implying that you don't care about us." "I appreciate your kindness," said Ren Lei, glancing at Lin Feng in a gentle way. "Since it's that way, I have nothing else to say," said that young man. Then he looked at the snow leader and said, "Mother, what do you think?" In the Ice and Snow Empire, The cultivation emperor was the most respected person and was the ruler of the country. The snow leader and the emperor weren't a couple by any means, but in the empire, they were the most respected people, so everybody called them mother and father. That had been the tradition since the antiquity. I am happy if she's happy. Of course, if she can make a better decision, I don't mind, said the snow leader smiling. I already decided, I won't change my mind either, mother, said Irenlei smiling. Things could change, don't be so sure, said the young man indifferently, not trying to conceal anything. My boyfriend has a bad temper. If you infuriate him, don't blame me for not having warned you, said Irenlei. Lin Feng was sitting there, looking like a demon with his pitch-black eyes. The situation was far worse than he had expected. It was no wonder that some people wanted to kill her in the empty space. The situation was already bad enough in the open like this. So behind the scenes, it was probably quite scary. Those who had tried to kill Irenlei in the empty space had probably been sent by some of those people who were in front of them. I hope he's got a bad temper, said the young man smiling coldly. Father, mother, I'm off, said the young man standing up. He bowed in front of the Ice Emperor and the Snow Leader and looked at Irenlei. You can come to my palace whenever you want. He smiled and slowly left. Chapter 1332. Ice Lotus, he has a bad temper, even you can see that. I hope you can think a bit more about this, said the Ice Emperor. He sounded like a father giving advice to his daughter. I'll remember that, said Irenlei before standing up. Father, mother, if there's nothing important to do, I'm leaving. All right, you can go and practice cultivation. You need to become even stronger before the opening of the shrine, said the Snow Leader smiling. Thank you, mother, said Irenlei bowing, then dragging Lin Feng out of the palace. Lin Feng and Irenlei arrived in another palace, and some women arrived. Their skin was as white as snow, they looked beautiful, and their qi was extraordinary. Iren, you came back. I heard that you went to Bahuang province, it's so nice there. They all smiled in a gentle and friendly way. It's all right, replied Irenlei calmly. Is that your boyfriend? He doesn't look that special at all. You should have found a boyfriend even more outstanding than you. She's right. Don't you care about the rest of the lineage? Don't you care about your sisters? The girls were all talking and making fun of Irenlei. Lin Feng frowned. Their relations were all chaotic. According to some rumors, there's a chaotic place called the Heavens of Desire's Palace in Bahuang, where there's a holy girl who has the same name as you. It's not you, right? How could it be her? The women there are sluts. They'll sleep with anyone, said another one laughing and looking at Irenlei. Let's go, said Irenlei, suddenly dragging Lin Feng. But those girls didn't give up. Some girls even stopped in front of Lin Feng and smiled. Sister, why don't you not introduce your boyfriend to us? Are women in the Ice and Snow Empire all so noisy? Asked Lin Feng to Irenlei. How insolent. After he said that, a terrifying ice energy filled the room. The girls instantly stopped smiling and became hostile. The other girl also moved aside. Lin Feng knew that they had been fishing for a reason to attack him this whole time. I may be the weakest here, but I can't let my sister stay with a piece of trash like you. Piss off and get out of the Ice and Snow Empire, said the girl in front of Lin Feng in a cold way. Irenlei smiled indifferently and dragged Lin Feng. She smiled proudly and said to him, using telepathy, My love, do whatever you want, and no matter what you do, I'll stay with you. Lin Feng's pitch-black eyes twinkled as he looked at the girl in front of him. She had broken through to the first Zunqi layer. But since she was the weakest one, her abstruse energies were probably level 3 already. Boom! Lin Feng jumped forwards. He no longer looked like a little boyfriend, but a demon god. The girls instantly felt cold when they saw Lin Feng's pitch-black eyes. He was destroying their determination. Sit down, said Lin Feng, walking forwards. It was as if the demonic energies had turned into spears and were piercing into the girl's eyes. She immediately fell down on her bottom, and her face became deathly pale. Let's go, said Lin Feng calmly. Irenlei smiled and put her slender white arm around Lin Feng's arm. What's going on? Asked the girl who was sitting on the ground. Demonic eyes. whispered the girl as if she had understood something. Lin Feng and Yi Renlei went back to her palace where Lin Feng asked, "Is the snow leader your real mother?" "You guess," said Yi Renlei, smiling and looking back at Lin Feng. "The emperor has so many sons because he can have as many women as he wants. But those who call the snow leader mother should be her real daughters. They probably share her blood. If you tell me that everyone is the snow leader's child, I wouldn't believe it," said Lin Feng. "She's my real mother," said Yi Renlei smiling. But Lin Feng found that smile unnatural. Yi Renlei put her hands on Lin Feng's neck. He could smell her breath when she said, "She's evil. I'll take you to a place I hate," said Yi Renlei, dragging Lin Feng up in the air. On Lin Feng's right was a tall and erect building. It was the Ice and Snow Shrine. There was also a gigantic glacier. Yi Renlei looked at the Ice and Snow Shrine, and then moved towards the glacier. Yi Renlei landed on it, and Lin Feng followed. They arrived in front of an ice lotus. "My love, will you pick up that flower for me?" Lin Feng walked towards the lotus, crouched down, picked it up and gave it to Yi Renlei. Could a woman from the Heavens of Desire's palace possibly act like a cute and sophisticated girl too? Yi Renlei took the lotus and smiled. There are many glaciers in the Ice and Snow Empire. When I was a child, I liked running on glaciers and picking up lotuses. My father was an ordinary man who liked being on my side and would protect me. At least, until that demon appeared in my world. "The snow leader?" asked Lin Feng. "Indeed, the snow leader. You saw how beautiful she is. It's her hobby to seduce and play with men," said Yi Renlei smiling. "She's a real demon. Many men go insane for her. Some of them are even ready to die for her. My father waited 8 years for her, and she only stayed with him for 8 days. Then she made my father kill himself. Don't you think that's evil?" said Yi Renlei calmly. "All those girls are the snow leader's daughters, and they all believe that for the snow leader, men are only tools," explained Yi Renlei. "I don't know about the holy city, but in the continent of the 9 clouds and no matter where in it, be it Bahuang province or in Jiuyu, women are rarely leaders. Not because they're less talented, but because they are less determined and less cruel. A woman has to be cruel to become an empress. The snow leader is that kind of person. She won't let anything or anyone influence her, her daughters or men. She has an indomitable will. That's why you went to Bahuang province and became the holy girl of the Heavens of Desire's palace," said Lin Feng. "Do you want to become like the snow leader, have men and then abandon them?" "No, how could I be like that? How could I abandon or kill a man I love?" said Yi Renlei. "I just want to kill one person, the snow leader, but it's easier said than done. My love, will you help me?" "Is that why you want to go to the Ice and Snow Shrine?" asked Lin Feng. "Indeed," said Yi Renlei nodding. "In the Ice and Snow Empire, there's an ancient legend that when a man picks up an ice lotus for a woman, he has to protect her. I'm not asking you to protect me forever, only during these next 100 days. Can you promise me that, my love?" She slowly approached Lin Feng and released desire abstruse energies, causing Lin Feng to slowly burn on the inside. Chapter 1333. Carnal Pleasures, You're a Demon Too, said Lin Feng when he sensed the desire abstruse energies controlling his body. Yi Renlei looked sexy beautiful. She even stood on the tip of her toes and suddenly kissed Lin Feng passionately. She snuggled with him, made out. Her body was firmly pressed against his. "I'm not the same. I'm pure and clean, my love. You're my first man, my first love, and you'll be the last one too. I'll always be the best woman I can be with you," she said in a low and sexy tone. Slash. Lin Feng's clothes were suddenly torn apart. Some parts of them flew away in the wind. Yi Renlei took off her clothes, only leaving her underwear. Her beautiful white skin was perfect without impurities. Lin Feng's clothes continued falling down and flying away with the wind. He only had his armor left, but it was mixed with his skin. "My love, let's take off everything," said Yi Renlei. She took Lin Feng's hand and put it on her skin. "Are you sure you won't regret this?" asked Lin Feng. His eyes were gradually filled with fire and passion. "These next 100 days only you and I matter. After those 100 days, you won't need to bear any responsibility," said Yi Renlei shyly. putting Lin Feng's hand on the last clothes she was wearing. "You're even more evil than the snow leader," said Lin Feng. He was going insane. His eyes were filled with fire, desire, passion. He finally took off her last clothes and couldn't hold himself back any longer. Lin Feng's armor disappeared. So now they were completely naked in that icy world. An icy lotus appeared beneath them and hid them from the rest of the world. "My love, let's succumb to our carnal desires," said Yi Runlei in a seductive way. He immediately succumbed to her beautiful body, and they made love for a long time. Yi Runlei was moaning in Lin Feng's ears. They forgot about everything around them while making love. Lin Feng had never had that feeling before. Even while making love to Xianyi, he had never felt that way. Yi Runlei seemed to know everything there was to know about carnal pleasures. She showed him everything. At that moment, Lin Feng could sense his vital energies condensing. He had the feeling he was fusing together with the earth, a perfect fusion. In that world, there were only Lin Feng and Yi Runlei. Lin Feng's demon intense, abstruse energies and soul were raging inside of him. The Comet Hatu, the 6 heavens of desire and passion, the carnal pleasure skill, made the fusion between a man and a woman perfect. Lin Feng was discovering the real pleasures of making love while sinking into deprivation. However, in softness there was hardness. In hardness there was softness. When sinking one could rise. Yi Runlei was Lin Feng's mistress. He was her object. He only had to enjoy those pleasures. After a long time, the lotus eventually disappeared. Lin Feng and Yi Runlei were lying there. Lin Feng was looking at the sky. Yi Runlei was in his arms. Her head was on his shoulders, and her face was red. Lin Feng suddenly stood up and rose up in the air. He said, "I'm going back to practice cultivation." Yi Runlei looked at him and said in a gentle way, "My love, you don't understand emotions." Then she looked at her clothes. The dress which they had been lying on had a blood stain on it. She put it in her ring and put on something else. Then she rose up in the air as well, following Lin Feng. Time passed slowly that night. There was a terrifying demonic qi filling Yi Runlei's palace. It seemed like the room could explode at any moment. Yi Runlei was sitting in a pavilion. Her cheeks were rosy, and she looked stunning. "That's my man, he's incredibly strong," thought Yi Runlei, looking at the room from which the demonic qi was emanating. Kaboom! Finally, the small room exploded and demonic qi spread thousands of meters around. Demon clouds even appeared in the sky. Yi Runlei was amazed and smiled wryly. Was that a demon skill? It had to be from the antiquity, perhaps even demonic scriptures. Only imperial skills could be called scriptures. As expected, the demon clouds attracted many people. A group of soldiers appeared in the air and stared at it. Yi Runlei stopped smiling. She left the pavilion and said to the soldiers in a cold way, "Who told you to come here? Piss off. Your Highness, for your safety, I need to inspect those demonic clouds." Then he opened his third eye and moved his godly awareness towards Lin Feng's room. "You want to die," said Yi Runlei. She opened her third eye and an ice-cold light shot out. At the same time, Yi Runlei moved quickly, energies rising to the skies. She was releasing water energies as a lake appeared in the sky and water dragon came out of it, heading towards the soldiers. Level 5 abstruse energies. The soldiers were pale. They wanted to run away, but they had no time. The water dragon caught up with them. "Those who come to my palace without my authorization will die," said Yi Runlei in a cold way. A few people gave horrible shrieks, and some drowned in the water abstruse energies, their bodies disappearing. Because Yi Runlei seemed so strong, many people didn't dare bother her those days. After a few days, the demonic clouds became less distinct. Yi Runlei had to release some energies around the room, where Lin Feng was practicing cultivation, as to hide the demonic energies. 7 days later, the demon qi gradually disappeared. Yi Runlei was still in the pavilion waiting when she looked in the direction of the room and whispered, "He should be coming out now." Plop plop. Sounds like water dripping sounded. Quickly it sounded like there was an ocean, and a storm and thunder. Then, blood-like red lights emerged from the room he was cultivating. Yi Runlei was wondering what was going on. More time passed, some days, and then the sounds became less intense. After a few days, Dao He came to Yirun Lei, looked at her room and said, "Your Highness." Yirun Lei came to him, and Dao He bowed before her. But not that deeply. He no longer respected her as much as before. "What do you want?" asked Yirun Lei in a cold way. "I want to fight your boyfriend a battle to death," shouted Dao He furiously. His voice spread everywhere in the surroundings. Yirun Lei frowned and said, "He's busy, leave now." "Come out," shouted Dao He furiously, ignoring Yirun Lei. Yirun Lei slowly rose up in the air. But at that moment others appeared. Dao Gu and some others. "Your Highness," shouted Dao Gu politely while nodding. "What's going on?" "Your Highness, Dao He wanted to challenge your boyfriend," and the snow leader agreed. "I hope you won't go against her will," said Dao Gu calmly. "Piss off," shouted Yirun Lei, surprising Dao Gu. Dao He looked up at the room Lin Feng was cultivating. "Are you a coward?" "I told you to piss off," said Yirun Lei. "We disturbed you. Dao He, let's go." The members of the Dao clan left, but the fact that Dao He had challenged Yirun Lei's boyfriend spread around quickly. Chapter 1334. Aggressiveness and brutality. A few young men were sipping tea inside courtyard of the territory of the palace. All the influential groups could go to the palace of the glacier. The more influence a group had, the closer they could get to the shrine. "Your Highness, Yirun Lei refused to let her boyfriend fight Dao He," said a young man smiling. "It seemed like Yirun Lei's boyfriend was going to break through to the Zunqi layer," said one of the young men. "Haha, Zunqi layer." Everybody burst into laughter. The people sitting there were already above the first Zunqi layer. So any news that Lin Feng was only breaking through to the Zunqi layer was ridiculous. You broke through to the 4th Zunqi layer last year, and it's already easy for you to destroy cultivators of the 6th Zunqi layer. Soon, you'll become a cultivator at the top of the Zunqi layer, said a girl smiling proudly to the young man. She was flirting with him. Someday, he'd be an emperor and she'd be on her couch, sleeping with him. Yirun Lei found herself a weak boyfriend. How ridiculous. We should humiliate her. What do you think? How? Asked someone excitedly. Someone said, "Your Highness, I can send some people to Yirun Lei's palace and use them to bring her here. If they don't succeed, we can humiliate them too." The one wearing the imperial robe didn't talk. Instead, he continued sipping his tea. He lowered his head as if he hadn't heard anything. Then he smiled and gazed into the distance. It meant that he agreed and wanted to send people to invite them. As expected, a short while after, soldiers arrived in the air above Yirun Lei's palace again. "Your Highness, the 6th prince sent us to invite you to our place," said the soldiers. They were wearing battle armor and had broken through to the 5th Zunqi layer. They were so strong that Yirun Lei couldn't kill them all like she had with the last group of soldiers. "Tell him that my boyfriend is busy," said Yirun Lei. "You can come alone if your boyfriend has no time," said the soldiers firmly. "I don't have time either," said Yirun Lei, this time releasing energies. The 6th prince said that if you didn't have time, he'd continue sending people each day. "You can't refuse us every day," said that person indifferently. Yirun Lei looked furious. She turned her head and looked at the room in which Lin Feng was practicing cultivation, whispering, "My love, how long do you need to break through to the Zunqi layer?" Time passed slowly in the Ice and Snow Empire. Some people thought it was funny that the 6th prince was sending people to Yirun Lei's palace every day. But Lin Feng was practicing cultivation. What could she do? She could only protect the room calmly. Lin Feng was going to break through to the Zunqi layer, and that would be extremely important. That made Yirun Lei smile wryly. Lin Feng wasn't protecting her, but she was protecting him. 2 months passed. Yirun Lei and Lin Feng never showed up. Everybody was making fun of them now. Only 1 month more until the shrine opens. Yirun Lei was annoyed though, because she practiced the Kamat Hatu, the 6 heavens of desire and passion skill, and making love with Lin Feng had been greatly beneficial. She had broken through to the 2nd Zunqi layer, but because Lin Feng was practicing cultivation since she couldn't isolate herself and practice herself. The 6th prince continued to send people, challenging Lin Feng. Even though she didn't care what people thought, but she was still feeling uncomfortable about the situation. 1 more month, thought Renlei, looking at Lin Feng's room again. A month later, the shrine would open, and in less than 40 days after that, the meeting of the emperors would take place. Ka! A sound broke the silence, making Renlei shiver. She turned around and looked at the room, smiling in a resplendent way. Lin Feng's eyes looked deep and meaningful. He wasn't releasing any qi. He looked even less extravagant than in the past. Renlei's silhouette flickered, and she moved towards Lin Feng. She stretched her slender white hands towards Lin Feng, and put them around his neck. She hugged him and said, "My love, finally you came out." "Don't turn me on as soon as I get out," said Lin Feng laughing. He looked incredible, like something had changed about him. Is it because he practiced demonic skills? Thought Renlei. Skills played an important role in a cultivator's life. If he practiced evil cultivation, then he would become more evil. She practiced desire cultivation, so she grew better at seducing men after reaching the Zunqi layer. "You chose to have sex with me, I didn't force you," said Renlei in a seductive way. Lin Feng was getting turned on again. He had changed after making love with her. He was turned on by her even more than before, making him think that the Kamadhatu, the 6 heavens of desire and passion skill, was more powerful than he previously thought. "Do you want to?" asked Lin Feng indifferently. Renlei smiled proudly and said, "During the next 100 days I'm all yours. You're my love and I love debauchery with you." Lin Feng whispered, "You demon." Then, he hugged Renlei and took her into the room. After a short time, Renlei was moaning with pleasure again. After sex, his blood condensed as well as his vitality. His blood was boiling even. He looked at the incredible creature lying next to him. She looked incredibly seductive, so much so that he felt like doing it again. "Your Highness!" shouted someone in the distance. Renlei quickly put her clothes on again. Lin Feng stood up and frowned. "Who's that?" asked Lin Feng. "The 6th prince has been sending people every day. They want us to go there, but I've been refusing them every day," sighed Renlei. The two of them went outside and saw the cultivators of the 5th Zunqi layer, as usual. He looked at Lin Feng and Renlei and smiled coldly. "Finally, you actually came out. What do you want?" asked Lin Feng. "The 6th prince wants to see you," said that person proudly, as if it was an honor for Lin Feng. "He wants to see me?" Lin Feng repeated. "Indeed. Make him come here then," said Lin Feng. That person blinked a few times and stared at Lin Feng blankly. "You want the prince to come see you? You said he wanted to see me, but I don't want to see him," said Lin Feng. "All right," said that person. Then he turned around and left. Wait, said Lin Feng loudly. That person stopped and turned around. "What do you want?" Lin Feng rose up in the air and arrived in front of that soldier. He looked at him with his demonic eyes, terrifying that person. Boom! Lin Feng immediately punched him, sending him flying. "What about my girlfriend's social status? How dare you talk that way while flying above her?" said Lin Feng aggressively. His voice spread all around in the surroundings. Chapter 1335. Extreme pressure. Renlei, who had been annoyed for months now, suddenly felt much better. He was protecting her now, not the opposite. Renlei looked at Lin Feng, who landed next to her. She said, "My love, you've changed. You became even more aggressive." "Isn't that better?" said Lin Feng, smirking. His demonic energies had been enhanced by lust. "Of course it's better. I can't believe you can already punch cultivators of the 5th Zunqi layer, like it's not a big deal. It was only a soldier. He was only an ordinary cultivator of the 5th Zunqi layer. Besides, I used my demonic vision on him just before, so it was even easier," explained Lin Feng. To him, punching and making an ordinary cultivator of the 5th Zunqi layer fly away was nothing to be proud of. If you didn't have your demonic vision, but using your full strength, how many punches would you need? Asked Renlei. Lin Feng frowned and smiled. Full strength? One punch as well. Renlei looked at him and smiled. You're confident. My love, you're already so strong. You can protect me now. Your Kamadhatu, the 6 heavens of desire and passion skill is incredible. After making love, You directly broke through to the second Zunqi layer. You, the celestial girl, are not any weaker than I, said Lin Feng. With the strength of the first Zunqi layer, your water abstruse energy was already level 5. My love, we have 40 more days left, so you shouldn't call me celestial girl, said Yirenlei. All right, during the next 40 days you're my love, said Lin Feng, caressing her cheeks. When the sixth prince and the others saw the bloodied soldier, they asked incredulously, "What's going on?" "Your Highness, Yirenlei's boyfriend came out of the room," said the soldier. His face was deathly pale, and he didn't dare look at the sixth prince. "Speak," said the sixth prince impatiently. "I told him that you wanted to see him, but he said that you should go to see him instead, and then he injured you," said the sixth prince. "Indeed," said the soldier in a low voice. "Has he broken through to the Zunqi layer? Is that why he injured you?" asked the sixth prince. "First Zunqi layer. He also knows a demonic vision skill. I just glanced at him, and he hurt me like this with just one punch," said the soldier. "Demonic vision?" said the sixth prince surprised. Making a cultivator of the fifth Zunqi layer fly away with demon intent and demonic vision alone was a great achievement. But he had only broken through to the first Zunqi layer. At best he was talented, but not strong. Now he could also kill ordinary cultivators of the fifth Zunqi layer easily. "This afternoon, I'll organize a party and everyone's invited. Go and tell her that I'm organizing a banquet for her and her boyfriend," said the sixth prince. "Don't worry, if he doesn't come, I'll go myself," said the sixth prince indifferently. The soldier nodded, bowed and left. Everybody knew what the sixth prince intended. He wanted to humiliate Lin Feng. Later that afternoon, there were many noble-looking people in the palace of the sixth prince, outside in a large courtyard. There were also many beautiful women dancing in front of them. "Your Highness, Yirenlei and her boyfriend are not grateful," said someone, when they saw that Yirenlei and Lin Feng weren't there. After all, it was a big banquet for Yirenlei's boyfriend. "If they come it'll be good," said the sixth prince. He didn't mind. He was busy watching the beautiful dancers. If he comes, I'll teach him a lesson." Everybody was chatting and drinking. On the other side was a group of people who were quite calm, girls who were sided with the snow leader. They were all beautiful women, many of whom were jealous of Yirenlei, because the snow leader had chosen her to go to the palace. Of course, only some of them thought that way. Many of them didn't care who went. They focused on their cultivation with the goal of becoming even stronger. This time the snow leader had chosen Yirenlei. The next time, she'd choose someone else. The sixth prince looked at Dao He and smiled indifferently. "I heard that Yirenlei's boyfriend can now defeat cultivators of the fifth Zunqi layer easily. I have broken through to the fourth Zunqi layer, so I wonder if he could defeat me so easily." Dao He frowned and looked at him in a cold way. Dao He didn't underestimate Lin Feng like the sixth prince. Actually, he thought he was extremely strong. After all, Lin Feng had killed a cultivator of the sixth Zunqi layer in front of him. Even back then, cultivators of the fifth Zunqi layer could barely defeat Lin Feng. They even had to rely on holy weapons to fight him. Now Lin Feng had broken through to the Zunqi layer, but Dao He thought he could still defeat Lin Feng. After all, his blade intent was like a holy weapon. "Your Highness, you must be joking. Your fighting abilities can't be defined in terms of cultivation level alone. Besides, you said he could defeat cultivators of the fifth Zunqi layer. But actually, he used his demonic vision and attacked that guy by surprise. In a real battle, I'd be surprised if he managed to fight an ordinary cultivator of the fourth Zunqi layer. I'd be surprised. Maybe you've overestimated him. I'm sure that I, a cultivator of the second Zunqi layer, can even kill him," said another young man proudly. "You want to kill me?" said someone in the distance. Suddenly, everybody stopped laughing and looked ahead. Two silhouettes appeared. One of them was Yirenlei and the other. The most annoying thing was her smiling and looking at her lover, Lin Feng. Many people looked at them in a cold way. Dao He was already releasing blade intent. Lin Feng helped Yirenlei to the ground and walked towards the one who had just talked. He wanted to kill him. Chapter 1336. Punching Dao He no matter their strength. Lin Feng's demonic skills probably came from imperial scriptures. In the Ice and Snow Empire, even princes didn't have imperial scriptures. Lin Feng had the advantage in terms of skills, especially after breaking through to the Zunqi layer. "I'm here, so why don't you kill me?" asked Lin Feng. The young man pulled a long face, and then looked furious. He released ice energies as if he wanted to freeze Lin Feng. However, his energies had no effect. He couldn't even weaken Lin Feng's energies, but his determination was being corroded. "Piss off," shouted that young man. However, Lin Feng just raised his gigantic hand, filled with demonic energies. "Die!" The young man suddenly released even more ice energies. Even if he was oppressed, he couldn't give up. Kaboom! In the blink of an eye, Lin Feng's demonic hand grabbed the young man's neck, suffocating him. He looked petrified as Lin Feng slowly raised him in the air. "I thought you wanted to kill me," said Lin Feng. "How dare you act like that on the day of the sixth prince's banquet?" said a cold voice in the distance, breaking the silence. "You don't understand etiquette, put him down," said someone else. Boom! Lin Feng threw the young man against the ground violently. The table next to him exploded even. The young man had many broken bones. He gave another horrible shriek when Lin Feng put his foot on the young man's wounded chest. Boom! Lin Feng released terrifying energies. Not only didn't Lin Feng release him when he heard those people, he even threw the young man to the ground. "The banquet was organized for you, and you aren't giving anyone face, you ungrateful scum," said someone else. "For me? When I arrived, I heard him say he could easily kill me. Why would I give people like him any face?" said Lin Feng, glancing at that person with his pitch-black eyes. "Do I know any of you?" said Lin Feng indifferently. After that, another horrible shriek spread in the air. "No wonder that Yiren chose that guy, he's quite strong. No wonder she doesn't care about Dao He," said the sixth prince, drinking alcohol and laughing. He didn't look angry at all. Dao He looked furious when heard the sixth prince. "Mu Feng," said Dao He, glaring at Lin Feng with murder in his eyes. Lin Feng looked at Dao He fearlessly. "I want to challenge you," said Dao He. "A battle to the death." A battle to the death? The crowd was astonished. If he managed to kill Lin Feng, nobody would care. Even the snow leader initially wanted Dao He and Yiren Lei to get married, but then Yiren Lei came back with Lin Feng. The snow leader didn't really care, and didn't want to get involved in Yiren Lei's love affairs. "The rule is that we can't use holy weapons," said Dao He. Lin Feng had a scepter, and it was a terrifying weapon. He also had an empty space robe which allowed him to teleport around. "How can I be sure that the Dao clan won't get involved?" said Lin Feng, smiling in a cold way. If he killed Dao he would be his first victim after breaking through to the Zunqi layer. "If you accept the challenge, I can seal the space around us. Nobody will disturb you until one of you dies," said the sixth prince, smiling. He would love to see that battle. No matter who died, Lin Feng or Dao He died, that battle would be entertaining. "Let's fight then," said Lin Feng. His blood was boiling and demonic qi was flowing throughout his body. "All right, I'll seal the space. Nobody else can get involved," said the sixth prince, smiling. He then said to Lin Feng, "You can start fighting." Boom! Dao He's qi dashed to the sky as he released his blade energies. "Mu Feng, you'll die," shouted Dao He aggressively. A gigantic blade moved towards Lin Feng. His attacks were as powerful as holy weapons. Lin Feng raised his fist and punched the air in Dao He's direction while rising up in the air. Demonic qi was rotating around him and dashing to the skies. "Die!" Dao He didn't talk much. He jumped forwards and released Blade Sharp Level 5 Wind Abstruse energies. A gigantic 10-meter-long blade shined as it cut towards Lin Feng. Easy. Lin Feng jumped forwards using his Xiao Yao agility technique. He condensed some wind and empty space abstruse energies as he moved towards Dao He. Dao He was surprised Lin Feng was so fast. The crowd was astonished too. It seemed like Lin Feng's agility technique contained holy marks. "Dao He!" shouted Lin Feng. Dao He raised his head and looked at Lin Feng. He looked into those two pitch-black eyes, demonic energies starting to corrode his thoughts. The 9 netherworlds water appeared, and he couldn't control himself anymore. even though he had broken through to the third Zunqi layer. Boom! Lin Feng punched Dao He's head, causing it to instantly explode. Chapter 1337. Insane battle. Dao He is dead. The crowd was astonished, their hearts were pounding. How powerful, explosive, aggressive. One punch and Lin Feng had destroyed Dao He. What happened? Thought the crowd. Lin Feng had shouted and Dao He stopped moving. Was that demonic strength? Lin Feng didn't even glance at Dao He's corpse. He landed in front of the crowd and said aggressively, "Who else can kill me easily? I'm waiting." Nobody said anything. All those who had criticized Lin Feng a moment before remained silent. Dao He had broken through to the third Zunqi layer, and with his abstruse energies, he could easily kill ordinary cultivators of the fifth Zunqi layer. Unfortunately for him, Lin Feng was far from ordinary. Lin Feng's punch hadn't only killed Dao He, it had destroyed many people's confidence. Had Renlei chosen a random man as a boyfriend? How come you all look so upset? You were chatting happily a moment before, said Lin Feng. Mu Feng, the banquet was organized for you and Renlei. Please have a seat. Let's chat and enjoy ourselves, said a cultivator of the fourth Zunqi layer. He was sitting not far from the sixth prince, meaning the prince trusted him. Lin Feng's strength had ruined their plans. They initially wanted to humiliate Renlei and him, but now they couldn't anymore. For me, said Lin Feng, smiling coldly. He turned his head and looked at Renlei with his pitch-black eyes. My love, do you believe them? My love, do you think I'm stupid? Asked Renlei, smirking. Lin Feng turned again and looked at the one who just talked. My girlfriend is saying that you are trying to humiliate us. That guy became petrified. He thought he'd managed to calm down Lin Feng, but it seemed like Lin Feng and Renlei had come to cause them trouble. Lin Feng slowly walked towards that guy. Each of his steps sufficed to explode the ground beneath him. He was condensing the natural force of the earth and sky as he walked. Weaker cultivators started breathing even faster, their blood hurt. Bump! The sixth prince violently slammed his glass on the table. He looked furious. Boom! Boom boom boom! An incredible amount of qi rose up in the air. The young men who were on the side of the Ice Emperor all stood up, releasing ice-cold energies. Lin Feng stopped after he was surrounded by those ice energies. So that's the kind of ceremony you organized for my boyfriend? Said Renlei, smiling indifferently. All those men were Zun cultivators. The strongest one had broken through to the fifth Zunqi layer. It is important to note that if a young man of the fifth Zunqi layer was allowed to sit there, it meant that he was extraordinarily strong, at least as strong as a cultivator of the sixth Zunqi layer, maybe even stronger. You saw that Mu Feng wasn't happy to be with us. You can't blame us for this, said the sixth prince, acting like he didn't care about their game anymore. My love, sing a song for them, said Lin Feng. Renlei nodded and sat down cross-legged in the air. She took out a zither and rested it on her legs. She started playing and singing. The sound waves surrounded Thm, creating illusions. Lin Feng's eyes became even darker, and his demonic intent became even scarier. Renlei's Six Desires demon song could make his demonic intent even stronger. Boom boom! Ice-cold energies surrounded Lin Feng's body, but Lin Feng continued walking. Sounds like shattering glass sounded as the ice around him broke apart. He took out his scepter and released cursing energies. No wonder Dao He said he didn't want to use holy weapons, thought the crowd. Many people's determination was already being affected. Lin Feng continued walking forwards and said, Soul cursing. Demon destruction territory. Lin Feng released a dark territory. After breaking through to the Zunqi layer, cultivators up to the third Zunqi layer would have their strength sealed and restrained. Spirit, shouted someone furiously. Some people realized they had to attack before it was too late. The space was suddenly filled with ice energies. Snowflakes started falling inside the demon territory. None of those people had studied ancient scriptures, so they didn't know what territory strength was. They only knew how to use the strength of their blood and spirits. Die! Shouted someone furiously. He wanted to make Lin Feng freeze. His multicolored spirit started attacking Lin Feng. La 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 roar! Terrifying blood qi rose to the skies as dragons chanted. Lin Feng's blood was extremely powerful, so much so that dragons would chant just when he invoked his blood strength. However, Lin Feng didn't release his spirit. He was still acting as a black mage. His dragon spirit belonged to Lin Feng. Even in the Ice and Snow Empire, he had to keep some secrets. He only invoked his blood strength, and it was enough to suffocate people. With that powerful blood strength, was he from an imperial family? Lin Feng jumped forwards and roared. Demonic energies whistled, dragons chanted. His energies rose to the skies together. Cultivators of the first and second Zunqi layer coughed up blood. Cultivators of the third Zunqi layer groaned with pain. They finally couldn't stand the cursing energies, the sixth desire song, and the demonic song. Chapter 1338. Destroying noble young men. Lin Feng's attacks had destroyed their determination and restrained their strength. They were starting to go insane. Once they all released their spirits at the same time, Lin Feng disappeared and reappeared above them. Boom boom boom. Energies crashed where Lin Feng was standing a moment before. Die! Lin Feng was still holding his scepter as he shouted furiously. People raised their heads and looked into Lin Feng's pitch-black eyes. The crowd then saw a demon silhouette appear who looked particularly proud and evil. The energies of the 9 Netherworlds demon filled the territory. 9 Netherworlds song Demon Life. Lin Feng started singing the song of the 9 Netherworlds as everybody was staring into his eyes. Everybody was filled with threads of demonic intent, losing control and turning into demons. In this world, I am your master and you are my slaves, said Lin Feng. Those people were shaking uncontrollably. No, nobody can control me, said a cultivator of the 5th Zunqi layer, trying to regain control of himself. Kill him, said Lin Feng. Die, die, die. The cultivators of the 3rd Zunqi layer, and under all threw themselves at the cultivator of the 5th Zunqi layer. Unable to control themselves, die all of you, shouted the cultivator of the 5th Zunqi layer. He had level 6 ice and snow abstruse energies, easily freezing all those people. Slash slash slash. Spears made of ice pierced through their bodies and killed them instantly. The 6th prince was aghast. He hadn't thought Lin Feng would go so far. Did Lin Feng really just break through to the Zunqi layer? Lei, what a pleasant surprise, said the 6th prince. Lei was smiling as she watched Lin Feng's battle. My love, you've received some incredible knowledge from the Netherworld Demon Emperor, thought Lei. Back in Shuiyu, Lei knew that Lin Feng had received some knowledge from the Netherworld Demon Emperor when he and the Qiongqi talked to the Demon Emperor. Lin Feng watched the cultivator of the 5th Zunqi layer, killing the cultivators he had possessed. Since that cultivator had level 6 abstruse energies, Lin Feng needed to kill him as fast as possible. Soul cursing. Lin Feng's scepter streaked across the sky and turned into a gigantic tree, oppressing the universe. Freeze! Shouted that cultivator, releasing their blood strength. Curse! Shouted Lin Feng. The ice broke, and a demonic tower fell from the sky. It was a holy weapon, the golden tower which Qi Jiao Jiao was imprisoned. I already used the Devamara territory as Lin Feng, so I can't use it now, thought Lin Feng. Back when he fought against Shui Bagyo, he had used the Devamara territory. Even though he was in Jiuyu, he had to avoid using it in case somebody had seen his fight outside Fortune City. Besides, that strong cultivator was smarter than the rest. He wasn't looking in Lin Feng's eyes. Without demon intent, Lin Feng didn't have the advantage. Consciousness curse, shouted Lin Feng. Those who weren't affected by his demon song might be affected if he attacked their consciousness. Die! The demonic tower grew to the size of a palace as it descended from the sky. Horrible shrieks ensued and many people immediately died. The few who were still alive were surrounded by demonic energies and were struggling. They couldn't get rid of the 9 Netherworlds water and the demon intent. It stuck to their skin like glue. Curse, said Lin Feng. They couldn't get rid of his cursing energies either. Even though they had only been fighting for a short time, they thought they had been fighting for days. The demon energies corroded their determination again. 2 people raised their heads and looked into Lin Feng's pitch-black eyes again. I'm your master. You are my slaves, serve me or die. The 9 netherworlds water surfaced again and destroyed their remaining determination. They submitted and nodded. Die! Shouted the 2 Zune cultivators, immediately attacking the other cultivators around them. A feather fan appeared and lacerated a few people. You're really terrifying, said Lin Feng. You've lost your determination, so I can easily kill you now, said Lin Feng. No, shouted one of the remaining few. He raised his head and looked into Lin Feng's pitch-black eyes. Lacerate, said another one, without looking at Lin Feng. A feather fan moved towards Lin Feng with level 6 abstruse energy. Kill him, shouted Lin Feng furiously. Some people moved towards the attacker, making him panic as he immediately recalled his fan. Boom boom! 2 kinds of strength collided and Lin Feng smiled. Die! He suddenly disappeared and reappeared in front of that cultivator. He had no time to block Lin Feng's attack now. Lin Feng's demonic fist punched him square in the face, exploding his head and instantly killing him. The last one looked at Lin Feng and shook. No, please. Die, said Lin Feng, punching the air in his direction again. That person exploded too, and Lin Feng was the last one remaining. Yirenlei didn't look worried at all. Instead, her smile was growing larger and larger. She didn't expect that he could kill them all. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.